Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to PWW Talks. I'm your host, Daniel Burke. My co-host, Mac, this evening is on assignment. He will not be joining me, unfortunately, this week. But however, in his place, super producer, Dave.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for looking up in a lot of places. Proud Smart is making people angry on the page, and I'm just watching it and loving it.
Yes, everybody now is just like, oh no, Proud Smart is back. We have real problems. Absolutely real problems. And we have a guest joining us this week. It is from Under the Mats Radio, Evan. Evan, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be on here with Dave and other Dave Q and DK. So it's definitely an honor.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start the DK rap.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, I thank you for coming on the program. Big fan of Under the Mats. Some of the guests you've had on there with Scott Hudson and Eric Bischoff. Too Cold. Like, you've had a very, very good kind of record. You've had a very good guest list and gotten a lot of Jim Ross included as well. Like, we were talking about it before, and I was just like, that is truly impressive. And you have really come along in the wrestling podcast game lately. So
the show's been around for years and years. And that's one of the most impressive things. That's one of the very impressive things about it, the longevity of Under the Mat Radio. I was listening to episodes of it like 2016 or 2017. It was back before anyone even thought about what's an AEW. That's how far back that goes. It's amazing.
When all we had to bitch about was just what was going on in WWE.
Yeah, it was bad. And TNA, if anybody watched that shit back then. And I love TNA. I have friends that work there. I will give a honest correction. I have a radio show that is ran on the internet. I do not have a podcast. And I'll explain, because my show's been going on for 13 years. I got trained in broadcasting at a radio studio. So actually starting an actual radio station, running the board, sitting down, cues, writing formats, segments, notes, mic checks, sound checks, microphone checks, audio, visual, commercial ads, running those, trying to sell commercial ads, trying to get guests, sending out press kits and press sheets, and working with different promoters and helping them promote. So that's why I corrected that. I'm trained in radio before it was even podcasting. When I started, it was my show. My great close friend Chris Featherstone, Pancakes and Power Slams, who, as most people see him now, working with Russo, working with EC3. His show has been going on for 14, 15 years. The only other people that had wrestling shows, of course, Jim Ross, I think, had his. Jericho started. Austin. That was it. It wasn't the big podcast boom. Shout out to my men, Shining Wizards podcast. Not sure if you heard of them. Not sure if they're still active. But a lot of the boys didn't have radio shows. A couple, Jericho, Jim Ross.
You outlasted Austin. He doesn't run a show anymore. They just run reruns on Podcast One.
Right. Austin did his. And this is before Jericho started his regular. This is before Cornette. This is before Russo. This is Slayer. So when I started, man, when it came to wrestling radio, it really wasn't much. Days. It was we don't count the WWE productions and TN. Back then it was WWE. That's it. TNA. If you stayed up to like 4 or 5 in the morning watching New Japan, you had no options unless you watch old wrestling tapes. Fast forward 12, 13 years later, you got AEW, MLW, the 18th reincarnation of TNA /Impact /Anthem, whatever you want to call them, with the Anthem on, crossing the line. that you have the NXTs and all their different territories, Japan and all Japan. There's so many different promotions. I know for NWA, can't forget them. So now everybody got a podcast.
Oh yeah,
which is great.
You got a podcast.
That's true.
Everyone does. Everyone does, but I'm blessed. I definitely am blessed for the guests. Just thank the Lord and just hard work and support of my family, and my friends, and my wonderful staff, Saltine, Ever Century Queen, XO, Toph, LSR. I could go down the list of honorable mentions of people. Evan Ginsberg, did work on a wrestler. So many people has helped me. So I won't be here today with my show and the success that I've had if it wasn't for the support. Family, good friends, boys, the wrestlers, what have you, David, DK, Nail, Bert, your support. So
what market did you start at?
Market far as like demographic?
Well, I'm talking when you worked in radio.
Well, I started, it was a small radio station, I should say, that was located here in Baltimore. And it was an actual radio station, but it was outreach everywhere, all over the United States. But as you know, what radio means, you have radio calls. It was a good starting point, but it was time to move on. So I was there for maybe 5-6 months, and that's when I ventured off to doing internet radio. And roll hours, you can say whatever the hell you wanted to on internet radio. FCC can't regulate you. You have more freedom. You can let your guests be who they are. Have them not say shit, whoremonger, and all the words you can't say on radio to teach you. There's an extra word. I can say the F word. Fuck. Can't say that now on regular radio. You can now.
Terrestrial.
What correct. We do. Right. So I just branched off, and internet was no restrictions. Say what you want. Still have a format.
Wild West days.
Wild West days.
Yes, before now they would cancel you for certain things that you may have said, but now they could go back in past episodes. They could be or something you did 5 years ago and be like, "Wait, he said this then." It's just like, really?
Yeah, it's the Wild West is coming to an end, I think, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but the good thing that the major topic that we're here to talk about tonight is our favorite moments in SummerSlam history. Minus 2024, because everyone and their mother, including us on this program, have covered it. And it's just, I think Evan said it best. He's like, when Taker covers it, it's over. It's like, you better off just talking about something else. Which is so true. It's just like, it's the 6 feet under podcast for a reason, because once he talks about it, it's just like, oh, it's dead.
He's like the definitive answer. He's like the definitive statement. If he makes a statement, it's like, okay, it's said. What do we do now? Something else.
Yeah, I feel like it's a hierarchy with, and God, God bless all of these guys who I've been blessed to work with one way or the other, either interview in person or on my show, be video or audio, or this show. Once it goes from Dutchy, then the Cornet, then Taker. No, I'm sorry. I take it back because I'm going to get beat up. Shout out to Sean Oliver. That's my man. Love you, Sean.
Oh, Sean Oliver rocks.
Yeah, that's my man. Yeah. And he'll be on my show again soon. We've been working on this part 2 for like 2 years. We've both been busy as hell. But it's this the hierarchy of Dutchy. Then it goes to Nash and Sean Oliver. Then it goes to Corny. Then it hits Taker. After Taker, that's it. There's no need to talk. That's it. Those are the 4 that you probably hear about. It's others you hear. Say it again.
Unless Vince McMahon ever decides to start.
Oh God,
no!
That
would be something.
No,
we don't. Yeah,
those days, no. No one cares what he has to say.
Join the Kiss My podcast.
Oh God!
You need a whole bunch of toilet tissue, ply 2, ply 3, flushable wipes.
Conrad Thompson will be running it with him.
I love Conrad. That's my man too. I love Connie.
I'm not trying to knock him.
I don't think Connie's going to do
that. Man, even Conrad has standards. He wouldn't do that.
I love Conrad's way of handling history because a lot of podcasts don't do that, and he does really well.
He does. He's a preservist of history a lot of times, like especially
50 years. 50 years, and people study the history of wrestling. They'll be going to his podcast because it'll be one of the best sources for it.
And he's like the Thanos because he got all the damn gauntlets. He got like 18,000 shows, and that's all. That's up to Conrad off and on. You got Jared and Angel.
Conrad Empire.
Yeah, the Conrad Empire, right?
His own personal collection is even outstanding. He's got the original ECW sign, like
he's got the original big gold.
Yeah,
unless he gave it to Flair. I've heard it both ways.
Well,
either way, he's got the other way. The original big gold is passed through his hand, and for many years, that son of a bitch was lost.
So the question is, with the big gold, which is my all-time favorite belt, is it the one where the bolt? Because I'm not sure if you heard the story with the big gold belt. That actual screw or bolt was missing from when was it Funk? He hit Flair in the head with it, or Ronnie Garvin. Someone had hit Flair in the head.
Yeah,
and it's a version of the belt where one of the bolts is missing.
Yeah,
that's the one that Connie has.
The original one, there should be two things that stand out. It's three things actually. This Crumrine signature should be on the back of it somewhere. I don't remember the exact location because I haven't read into the belt lore in probably a couple of years. The bolt's missing, like you said, and there's supposed to be a visible dent that is likely from Ric Flair's head.
Yes, that's true.
That's the three. That's like the three key things. That was the majority of the time you would have seen the big gold anywhere, including WCW. It would be a cast copy.
Yes,
but in the early days, they didn't have that kind of money, so Flair just wore the damn thing. And sometimes there's a rumor that some of the diamonds, the original diamonds that were in it, were removed and had to be replaced. Not confirmed.
Huh? Surprised me.
You ever notice how big the OG big gold belt, the one that he had and Dusty and Ronnie Garvin for like 18 seconds.
That thing is like,
and then you look at the reincarnation of the WWE World Title from like 02. You look how it looks big, but it's so small compared to.
No, and
then which SummerSlam did that thing appear on? The original, which was it? 1991 SummerSlam, Bobby Heenan.
Yep.
And then NWA was like, son of a bitch.
Well,
see that coming, I guess.
Vince had, because Rick had the deposit on, so technically he owned it. Like they fired him and they didn't give him, and he's just like, "Fuck you, keep the belt." It's just like, okay.
The NWA was like shit. It was like the NWA just never seemed to expect that the belt would wind up on WWF TV.
Well, it's because Hurd made the decision, like in not realizing there's a committee here, like you have to talk to them about this.
Yeah, WCW had stripped Flair of the title right after firing him, right before the Great American Bash. That was a double title because NWA was also recognizing Flair as the champion. It was a double title but single belt, kind of like what we were pretending was going on with Roman for a bit. But they didn't strip the title. But the NWA didn't strip the recognition until after the title appeared on SummerSlam, and then NWA was shitting kittens, and next thing you know, they got to do something real quick, and they stripped it. And then there was a bunch of lawsuits, and good God, that's worth a show of its own.
Now, I was at all of the Great American Bashes except for the ones that wasn't here in 1998. No one cared about that league. No one cared about the League Wonder match. And did you ever see that crappy ass belt? Y'all do know Dusty had to use
one of the Florida belts.
Florida belts and the slap.
I've seen grainy pictures of it. It doesn't look great.
I have a picture of it. I have to send it to you. I
want to see it.
I have a project I'm working on. So Baltimore Wrestling History. I help contribute to the book. It's called Battleground: The History of Wrestling here in Baltimore.
You saw Sting win his first title.
I sure did.
Yeah,
So
and
they
then
saw the
a
War
year
Games.
later, you get to see a PN News and a goddamn scaffold match,
No one cared about this shit.
and then during the main event to crown their new champion, the whole crowd is chanting audibly, "We want Flair!" Like,
Yeah, no one cared about that. And
Holy shit!
now I'll give you another fun, two fun live facts too, because WWE like editing shit. Super Brawl 5 was also here. The main event was Vader against Hogan.
Vader for Hogan, yes.
Yeah, if you watch the network or Peacock or whatever, unless you have the actual unedited VHS copy, which I have, everybody was booing the shit out of Hogan. We were
Yeah, I
cheering.
know. No, they were really heavy.
They edited
They were
in
heavy
the cheers
Vader.
like it was Royal Rumble '92.
Yes, they edited all the cheers. You watch it. Now
WWE did that.
they edited all these cheers for Hogan on the network. Now I don't know if they did it on Peacock. Maybe we can go back and look
They
at it.
did. I've watched it recently.
Yeah.
When Vader no-sold the lariat in the corner,
It's a great match.
that place went nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That when he no-sold the lariat in the corner and he just shrugged it off and he took his mask off, that place popped.
Vader's a good dude. God rest his soul. And I know this is all top, but we'll get to SummerSlam in a second. But Great American Bash '96. We all know infamous. Bischoff getting jackknifed. Rey Mysterio Jr.'s WCW debut.
The Malenko match was like one of my favorite matches in WCW.
Mongo joining the Horsemen.
Now, when Bischoff got jackknifed, everybody basically was like, "What the fuck?" My mom legit sat up and said, "This will be the last damn show I'm going to," because we was like, "Oh shit, is WWF coming? Is Taker coming?" No one knows the main event of the Bash '96. See, that's why you looking. See, you still stumbling. No one gives a shit about that.
I
see. You don't even know.
I don't remember that. That's true. I remember the undercard. I just don't remember the main event.
It wasn't
no, Flair was in the Flair was in the tag team match.
Yeah, and Savage was out on a storyline where he was like removed from the company because he's violent or something. So it wasn't him.
Nah, because remember, Savage was helping to train Kevin Green and Mongo.
He was also on the cover of the VHS. So
on the VHS,
yes.
Right.
Okay. Shit.
Damn. Give up?
Ain't Luger? No, you're right.
No, it was Luger.
Me.
The main event was Luger against the Giant for WCW.
Oh God,
heavyweight title.
That. Damn it!
After Bischoff got jackknifed, a good quarter of the arena left because he was scared. Like he literally thought it was a hostile takeover. Like, what is happening?
Holy
we
shit!
Thought that was real. Like, okay, cops was running around. It was crazy.
That's insanity that the quarter of the building left because they were just like, this is getting too real.
That's like WrestleMania 32, that bullshit Mania in Texas. After the entrances with Reigns and Triple H, most people was leaving. No one gave a shit about that match.
No one cared.
That's when the beach ball started. That's when the Illuminati beach ball.
I did like Steph taking a bump though in that match.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that's when the troll beach ball started.
That got a good reaction.
I remember watching that show and not really caring. I sat there and I think motionless for 6 hours.
32.
Is that 32 was just nothing was good.
I don't remember.
Like nothing was memorable.
32 outside of the. Oh no! There's another match. I remember Taker versus Bray was that one? Was that year? I think.
No. It was Shane.
That was 31.
That was
Shane and Taker. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 32.
Yep.
So when
Shane No. Shane and Taker was
32.
Was the 20. So I was there. Shane and Taker, Hell in a Cell, wasn't that
2016?
Yeah, you're right. It was
what a fantastic year that was.
Oh, see, I was there. I forgot. Yeah, the only
all
thing
right, so you got me with the Great America Bash, okay? We're even.
The only thing about 32 I remember was when Brock went against Ed Mox.
Oh, that's
no. It was Brock. Yeah, it was Brock and Moxley.
Moxley. That's one of the moments that drove him to AEW, and AEW didn't even exist yet. And that was still one of the moments that drove Mox to AEW.
Problem is that he probably went to, like, if he went to him with the John Moxley look of it, of course Brock is going to say no to any of it. So I understand his idealism of, oh, Brock's lazy, but if he went to him and was just like, I want you to stab me in the forehead with these spear he's just no.
Like that AEW match where he had the weenie hanging out of his head.
You know, he
suplex me in barbed wire. No.
He believes in every match.
It's every match.
Every match. It's a surprise if he wrestles a match without blood. That will get headlines. Moxley didn't bleed today.
It's a drinking game. Every time, it's like it's just
Sportskeeda. We were in Moxley articles were a nightmare because Sportskeeda was restricted against blood in their pictures. So finding Moxley pictures for our articles was just absolute dog shit. Most people just avoid Moxley entirely.
The entrance.
Yeah, that's actually I think one of the things that hurts Moxley is because a lot of news media don't want to cover him because they can't find images where he's not bleeding because of Google search restrictions.
Speaking of blood, before we get to SummerSlam, I actually finally watched 2 weeks ago the Muda scale match, him against Hase, which is people forget. Muda against Hase won, so Hase did a pretty good blade job. Muda Hase 2 is the Muda scale match where Hase got his revenge. I actually watched the whole match. Didn't bother me. I thought it was great. And if you guys haven't been able to see it, you can't find it on YouTube. I'll tell you off air how to get it. But the amount of blood that Muda lost, you seen pictures. I don't know if you've seen the match or not. But the fact that you seen it?
I have not seen it.
The fact that you lose so much blood where it looks like it's plaster on your face.
You talking like the Eddie Guerrero bleeding level?
Oh, that's nothing. I mean, Eddie Guerrero bleeding was it Judgment Day?
Yeah.
That was sickening. But that's still in no comparison to Muda.
You telling me this guy about died?
That's why it's called the Muda scale. If the whole mat is full of blood, Hase is full of blood, the Tyson full of blood, referee has blood, and your whole face is full of blood and hair.
Don't show Moxley. Do not show this match to Moxley.
Oh God, no!
He's gonna be like, "Hey, Tony, I've got to
stab an artery.
Full gear.
Let me stab an artery, so I get the shit on blood."
I'm not booked it all in. Just put me and Nick Gage in a death match. It'll be fine. No, Jesus.
All right, I can nick an artery and we can patch it real quick, and I'll live.
That was more blood in that Muda match than Saw 1 and 2 combined.
That's a lot of blood.
God.
I ain't say 3. After that, then that's Moxley level.
After that, the Saw just kind of goes nuts, but
1 and 2 wasn't as bad. But after 3, that's like Moxley level. Just bleed every day.
If we ever did a podcast about Saw, I'd give you my opinions about how 3 fucked everything up. But we
can talk about that too in another time. Let me know. I'll join in on that one.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Let's get on to SummerSlam, guys. I'm sorry, we're talking. It's having some fun as we always do. Before we even get on moments, I want you guys to tell me, when you think of SummerSlam, what's the first thing? Could be a match, event, moment. What's the first exact thing that comes to your mind?
Brett versus Taker. That's the one. When I think of SummerSlam, that goes in my head constantly. It's my favorite
heart and soul
of the entire event history.
I will have to say I had the magazine, and that's probably one of my favorite magazine covers of all time, top 10. If you know what the magazine looked like, where hearts, what is this? What is this heart? What is that? We don't know, but Brett standing with the title and Taker's behind him with smoke. And they merged the heart symbol with the Taker, and it's a heart and soul SummerSlam.
Yeah, that was cool. That was
the best promo posters.
That was a really cool poster they had for that.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
That's one of the whole thing was cool. There's just I couldn't tell you anything that I thought was bad about any part of the Brett Taker program in SummerSlam. The promo, the poster, the match, all the post bullshit that led us to Hell in a Cell. That is just primo, absolute primo.
How we turned on Shawn Michaels, even though Shawn Michaels really didn't. Shawn Michaels was doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing his job right.
Yeah, it's like he was doing his job. He made a mistake, and we turned on him, and we blamed him for that. It's like, but
somebody spit in your face, you're going to hit him with a chair too. And it just so happened that Brett ducked.
And technically, that's an assault. That's a federal offense. So you have to do something.
Especially in this post-COVID age, you can't just spit on people.
That's even more.
That's even worse.
It ain't like the 50s. You just hawk a loogie on the person you don't like.
What about you?
I think my favorite has to be 91. Well, not my favorite, but more or less the one that kind of got me hooked into this was 91, Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart. That was probably the first actual wrestling match that I had seen that I was just like, oh, there's an art to this. There's an art to this. There's more than just the theatrics and the just the comic book heroes. This is actual. Yeah. This can actually be an athletic. Guys that make this look like it's an athletic contest.
I think Perfect did that with a bad back too.
He did.
He did. Yeah. And I was like, I fell in love with Bret that night. Like as a fan, I was just like, he is going to be one of my guys. Like it was the music too, because his theme music was cool. I liked his outfits for some reason, and he wore pink, but still he made it look cool. He made it look so cool.
Oh yeah.
And it just, and I was a huge Hulkamaniac, still somewhat am. And even though the man Terry Bollea is extremely flawed, I look at Bret Hart and I just think, I feel like the character was also the man. Like that's something I always looked at with Bret. Yeah, but I also feel like that's somewhat now. Does he come off as ornery and like grumpy? Yeah, but at the same time, when your whole career is based on how good you are and the excellence of execution, that's literally what you're called, the excellence of execution, and your career ends because somebody doesn't know how to throw a thrust kick. Yeah. And cost you a bunch of money.
Boo Goldberg.
I kind of get it.
Bitch.
Again, this program is buried Bill Goldberg.
Billy Berg.
He'd never even come on our show anyway.
I've been
maybe Hogan one day, but not Goldberg.
I've interviewed Billy. Yeah. I've interviewed Billy Berg.
Oh, how did that go?
It was nice. 2 years ago, it was just on our page. He was at a convention. Nice guy. I mean, I personally can't say anything against him. He treated me and my staff well, and it's cool. And we talked before and after, to 2-3 minute interview. Took time out, so he was nice to us. But I understand why some of the boys hate him.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, I'm not in the ring going against him, so.
I have a favorite SummerSlam moment that involves Goldberg.
Oh God, tell me it's 2003.
The great. There's nothing against Goldberg personally, but it's the greatest counter to the spear I've ever seen.
Some of that sledgehammer.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, Goldberg is just coming in charge, and Triple H just jumps in just the right way and just nails him in the back of the head. I was like, damn. It's like, I'm not even. It could have been Roman Reigns. It could have been Rhino with the gore. Doesn't matter. It was just the way Triple H countered the spear with the sledgehammer. I love that so much.
It was great. I just wish I understand you got protected because we clearly see Triple H cover the top with his hand. So kind of wish he had kind of like a plastic handle to look more realistic. But that is a great counter, like surprisingly in the video game. And the fact that Flair, if you notice, they probably edited this out, but Flair literally when he grabbed Triple H because he had them what you call them biker short things he wore because he had the quad injury.
I remember that outfit.
Yeah, he tore his groin.
Because remember they was in the SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain or
they were. Yeah,
they
were. Yeah, I remember he had
purple ones.
He had purple, red. He was wearing different types back then.
White
he was
ones.
Really, yeah.
Even though he won for the injury, I thought they were cool. But
yeah, I did.
You remember Flair actually gave him like 2 middle fingers. He grabbed them. He was like, "Fuck it!" He woke up. He did it. I mean, it's edited out now, but when we see it, the Flair was being Flair going off. For me, I will say I'm gonna give a traditional in ring moment, and then I'm gonna give a moment that you guys gonna laugh when I say this. You're gonna be like, "Oh, I forgot about that." Is as a kid seeing Zeus in that ring with Hogan, and I'm like, he's gonna kill Hogan. His eyes crooked, his eyebrows look weird, and he's a big black man, and we didn't see that back in the days. He's gonna die. I remember saying that as a kid watching it. My grandfather, good guy too.
Yeah, I've heard that so much. He was everywhere he was at. He was apparently very well beloved.
We actually went on a hunt for breakfast sandwiches at a convention on my mom's grave because he was hungry. He was starving us. Breakfast was an hour and a half late. And he said to me, the N-word, "Bro, N-word, I'm hungry as shit. I'm hungry too." He said, "Let's get some fucking sandwiches. You coming with me?" I said, "All right, Debo, I'm coming."
Sure.
We started laughing. We went right up. Me and my friend Jason, Alisal, went right up the escalator and trying to find breakfast sandwiches. He was scared. It was legit. He was nice, but you didn't mess with him.
No.
Oh, yeah, I imagine not.
My second favorite moment is hearing Lord Alfred Hayes give the voiceovers for SummerSlam as kids. Remember that? You heard that?
Yes.
That SummerSlam music. I always remember it as a kid. That's the classic.
Originally, though, it was, I think for the first couple of years, it was the music for the Royal Rumble, one that we would, And then it moved, I think, in 90, or it might have been 89 or 90, where they moved it over to the traditional music that we saw, I think, between 89, or I think they stopped in maybe 94, 95, and then they moved it to something else.
Yeah.
So those are definitely mines. For sure. What are some what the fuck moments?
Okay, I got one.
SummerSlam. And this could be good or bad. Like it could be what the fuck in a good way or what the fuck in a bad way.
Steve Austin in '96 is getting hot. He's just had the whole big promo on King of the Ring. And knowing that, and knowing they're trying to build this guy, they come to SummerSlam and they put him on pre-show. It's like, what?
Oh my gosh. Right.
But it was on the preview channel too. It was on free.
Yeah.
Technically, there were more people watching that though than there was probably the pay-per-view. If you saw the buy rate, I mean,
it's Shawn versus Vader that year.
Yeah.
SummerSlam, King of the Ring had a bigger buy rate to the SummerSlam that year, and King of the Ring actually had like a bigger buy rate than everybody else, all the other shows that year except for Mania apparently. But SummerSlam really did dog shit. It was like one of the worst. It was the worst pre-WWE Network buy rate in the history of the SummerSlam.
Everybody bought Hog Wild instead,
which was actually an enjoyable show.
Actually, wasn't a bad show.
I rather enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah. Plus, they saw Hogan at the end of it spray paint, so that was NWO. And pretty much that fever had already started to really kind of come in. Yeah. So that show suffered, unfortunately.
Poor Shawn and Vader.
I hate to go in like the 2000 era, but the 2000
SummerSlam history.
But I hate it. But I got to go with 2010. The Nexus losing to John Cena is still like, or what? What are we doing here? He doesn't. He can afford to lose this. He has a way. Oh, they just need heat him on the floor. Okay, it's fine. It's over.
If I listen to I saw Edge's interviews about that, it makes it really. He doesn't come out and say it, but it makes it really sound like John Cena might have just that doesn't work for me, brother, and booked himself.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, if you heard Wade Barrett, did you hear Wade Barrett's interview where he basically said that happened?
I did not hear Wade Barrett's interview.
Yeah, Wade Barrett. Did you see that, Q?
I did.
Wade Barrett basically confirmed what Ed said, that basically Cena did it. That doesn't work for me, brother. And I believe Jericho, he even mentioned that thing.
Yeah, I've heard
one of his shows. And they said Cena actually came back later and said, and apologized, said, you guys were right. I should have went ahead and lost.
I just felt like, and that was in a position where they really couldn't afford to. They really needed to make new stars. They really had nobody.
It set the business back a couple years.
It really did. Like, even though the next year with the Summer of Punk, they did all right. They really kind of got some interest again. But then you're like, well, we'll have Alberto Del Rio cash in at SummerSlam. No one cares about Del Rio.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
I liked Del Rio before I found out what kind of person he was. Oh, well.
Oh, well. But no, I just the whole Nexus thing, because you had all these guys that were young talent that had really become menacing. And then, they took The Undertaker out. They took
Danielson.
They took Vince out. But Danielson was already, I felt like, on the trajectory where he's going to be a good mid-card guy anyways.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the turnaround happened a year or two later. But you really killed a lot of these guys, like almost dead. Dead in the water. None of them, nobody cared about them after that.
I think most of them wound up being barely more than mid-cards. I mean, it's like, here's the honest question. Besides from Wade Barrett, how many of the Nexus people in that match can you even name without looking it up?
Ryback.
Justin Gabriel.
And
Heath Slater.
That's it.
It's hard.
Yeah, and then
Darren Young. Darren Young.
Yeah. Then with Darren Young,
it's hard.
It is.
It does.
Darren Young had success, but when he came out, and then with the other stuff that was going on, he basically kind of got buried. Not kind of, he got buried.
Bad about Ryback. Do you think he'll retweet us?
He blocked me, so I don't give a shit.
He blocked people you don't even know. I got people who've gone on Twitter and discovered they're blocked by Ryback, and they're like, I don't even use Twitter.
I thought his voice was a gimmick. I know the famous story about Savage. A lot of people thought that his voice was a gimmick, and that's really his voice. So I ran into Ryback twice in the elevator, and that's his real voice. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was voice. I was like, he was cool, dude.
Good voice for it. I'll give him that.
Nice voice. Needs some dental work, but it's cool.
WWE lighting on his head was weird. It always made it look like he had mold growing on the side of it.
Yeah, like moss, like sea moss.
Yeah.
Like what's the bush? Is that moss you see in the bottom of the sea? Like you see like the little orchids and stuff. Or
like in the top of the pond where I grew up at.
He's been one of the few guys in the industry that, like, I looked at him immediately and I was just like, nope. Like it just I just looked at him. I'm like, nope.
Well, I think they kind of blew it by having him lose 6 months straight in a row. He lost the Punk and then immediately lost everything thereafter until 6 months. Shit, this is more like 9 months. I mean, he went from that to losing all the pay-per-views leading up to Mania, losing to Mark Henry.
And then he's
challenging
for the champion the next month.
And then Mark Henry challenges Cena, which doesn't even make sense why that happened that way. Why did Mark Henry's defeated opponent get to challenge Cena first and twice? It's like, maybe he didn't have a chance in hell, but if you book a guy to lose 9 straight pay-per-views in a row, how the hell is anyone going to have a chance in hell?
Yeah,
imagine if you did that to Austin in '96.
Yeah, that is a good point. I'll give you a what the fuck moment. Rey Mysterio coming out, they gave all that damn salt, that silver shit on his body. Remember? He came out.
Oh God, I think it was 07. Yeah, it was 07.
He fought Chavo. Shout out to my man Gene Biggie. he reminded me, him and Chavo fought 2 consecutive years at SummerSlam, which I didn't even realize it.
Right.
He came out that year wearing all silver, all over his body, looked weird.
So he's wrestled a Guerrero at 3 SummerSlams.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That is true.
It's an interesting record.
He wrestles Dominic. Maybe you can count it as 4.
At 3 straight Manias, too. Not like 05, 06, and 07.
Yeah.
So
I remember Chavo and Mania better than do the SummerSlam match.
As far as matches go, my what the fuck moment was, how was it that Booker T loses to The Rock in 01? Which I was so upset about. Rock was returning, so
that's the problem.
I'm like, oh man, I was so heated. Which I got the business in this match, but I'm like, come on.
I mean, that was the problem only. It was just the fact of that Rock was returning. Because, yeah, I felt like Booker T should have won in the end because, like, if Rock was sticking around for 3 months and, yeah, he could have afforded to lose that one. But, he's coming back. He's doing movies. Sorry. And then I think
that's where the heat started with On the Rock, just a little bit. That would eventually lead to Hollywood in, like, let's see, about a year and a half later.
No, it was literally a year ago. Because
02 with Brock, they turned against him.
And remember, they turned against him. Rock beat him, and then he did that promo off air. I don't know if you ever seen it.
I have.
I think when did they release it? Was it was it Rivals or Biography, or was it the WrestleMania? Some feature this show for the first time, The Rock's promo he did after he lost to Brock. He did a heel promo and was like, y'all gonna boo me, blah, blah, blah. I just watched, he was talking about The Rock and his heel persona. And actually showed it. Because we didn't know that. He did a heel after Rock won, camera go off. Rock gets up, there's a heel promo to the fans, like, you gonna boo me, The Rock, you can suck it, whatever it was. He left out as a heel. Us as the fans didn't know. We just thought The Rock left as a face. Which made sense when he returned in it's Hollywood Rock version 1.
I just remember all the things Rock said as Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood Rock was great. Probably one of the. Remember the game?
The best part about Sacramento will be The Rock leaving Sacramento.
That comment he made about the Lakers beating the Kings in May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy
shit. He got such a reaction. Yes. He made sure to say it a second time so he can get more.
Was that the Rock concert one where he was feeding with Billy Bird?
I believe so, yeah.
Or was it 2?
I think that was 1. It
might have been. Was when he feeded with Austin 19.
Yeah, I think it was Sacramento, yeah.
He had the Rock song on the Peacock. Both of his.
Oh, yeah, they took him off. Yeah, they took him off for copyrights. Do y'all remember Billy Berg's flip cell he did when The Rock hit him in the head with the chair? Which you've never seen anyone else do. The Rock hit him in the head, and he did like a somersault. Go back on that Raw. It was like the Rock concert one when Goldberg came down, or it was either that or the following Raw. Rock hits him in the head with the chair, and instead of him falling, he did like a little front flip. Pretty cool sell. Give Billy Bird that much.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, we'll give him that.
There were moments when, well, that's the thing, because it's like if he paralyzed the Undertaker during that match back in 2019 or 2018 for that matter, I don't know, those Saudi shows, some of them, I just try to forget about them.
Some of them, it's a flip of a coin if there ever was one.
It really is, but like
one of my favorite recent matches is from that, but it's on that very same show is one of the worst matches of all time, the Taker Goldberg match.
Yes.
Triple H is on the same show as one of my favorite matches, and then
that was good.
Followed by the worst thing ever.
And then you also got one of the worst matches in history, the Brothers of Destruction against DX. Triple H tore his bicep, King's mask fell off.
That was a cursed match.
Some of the Saudi events that have cursed. Our events, you didn't want to see Snake against Taker. We can't get that, but you want to see Billy Bird against Taker? He almost killed Taker. Like, that don't make sense. Like,
None.
I'm sorry, guys. We going on track here. Just how we do here on this wrestling round table.
We have a bad habit of it over here.
It's with I know with my friends, never what the fuck moment was the year Jericho went against Cena for the title.
05.
Which was a real good match. People forget that. And the fact that Cena still won, I remember everyone was just mad and pissed off. My buddies went and took shots. They were just upset because it was like, come on, which we get the logic now. Cena had to win. But, I mean, if you give Captain 4Ks, as we call him, his due, yeah, some of his best matches at SummerSlam. Him against Orton for like the 89th time.
Yeah.
Jericho. Oh, shoot, what's the fight at SummerSlam? You've been there like 10 damn times. Daniel Bryan Danielson, what you want to call him?
Yeah, that was a good match. The Brock match in 2014.
Oh, yeah. He
Cena versus Edge in 06.
Cena Edge in 06, yeah. Cena
I was there for that. That was in Boston.
Oh, how was it?
Crowd was dead. Like the crowd, it was weird because like the crowd was dead by that point because it was not that good of a show. 06 was a weird show.
I don't even remember the crowd.
Hogan kind of stood in the ring and Orton just basically sold and bounced around.
Oh, that was Hogan.
Yeah, that was Hogan and Orton. Yeah, that was on the card. Yeah,
that was another time they were supposed to do like with him and Michaels.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. I love that. I love that Hogan versus Shawn Michaels match.
Oh yes, the greatest
oversells of all time.
Oversells.
There was one point he takes a big boot and Shawn takes three bumps from one boot.
3 bumps from one flips.
At one point, Hogan turns around and he's just like, "What the fuck?"
He just looks at him like, "What?" but for once with Hogan, it was like, what are you going to do? It's Michaels. Like normally Hogan goes to people. It's like, I'm Hogan. What are you going to do? But
even
it's like Michaels, Triple H, any legends, like the Taker or back in the days, like Sting or Flair. They'd be like, what you going to do against them? Now with Michaels, is like, you can't do nothing.
Hogan, Hogan knew that Michaels just pulled also a great one out of him. Yeah, that was a memorable, great match. And Hogan knows in the end, okay, he's a dick, but still.
Hogan, right after he left TNA, him and Bischoff did an interview circuit, and one of the smarks in the crowd asked him about that match, to kind of wasn't that just a big piece of shit or something? And Hogan is like, that was a really good match. Hogan put over the whole
smart. And everything. Hogan is smart. Thanks for the titty shot, DK.
Sorry, I have a robe on, but I had to scratch. I didn't realize
it's all fine.
Unfortunately,
always with the robe. Always with the robe. God,
Dan's seen worse than a titty.
Oh man,
I got him blind.
So, what would you guys say would be some of you? What would you guys say would be some of the best build-ups for SummerSlam, whether it be a pay-per-view or match?
Highway to Hell, Steve Austin Taker, especially when you get the unedited version where you get the AC/DC song.
That's a damn good one.
Yeah, the real one.
Oh yeah.
Not the instrumental production.
Oh, fuck that! Whatever the fuck it was they did.
They want to play the routines.
Probably, I think my favorite would probably have to be Brock and Rock in 2002. Because that was
Drago against Rocky.
You knew, well, yeah, literally, you're right. It was Drago versus Rocky, but also you knew at the same time. Brock was the only guy I could think of that they fast tracked, but I was like, all right, make him champion. Fine.
Something else.
Within 5 months, you knew. You just knew. I think you knew within 3 months. You're like, they can make him champion now, and I wouldn't care. He's one of the few guys.
The best monster push of all time.
It was the best. It was any
better than the Giant from '95.
No, it's better. No way. It's not even close. It's not even close because it's like.
I know. I'm joking around.
I know. No, it's the only thing that saved Giant from having a terrible rookie year. It wasn't great, but it was not terrible. was what if he was not involved in that goddamn abomination Doomsday Cage match. If he was involved in that, I would say he was had the worst rookie year of all time. Like maybe since Kwame Brown in the NBA.
He won his title because a mummy dry humped Hogan.
It's the Yeti! It's the Yeti! But
fucking Yeti.
Oh God, it's a mummy. Like I can't call it a mummy though. Well, call it something.
We can't find it online no more. But I've heard the Shivani do his own version, a new version of commentary for
fucking Yeti
podcast.
Oh, I did hear that. I heard that too. Which 2 years later, the Yeti got jackhammered and lost to Goldberg because that was Ron Reese.
Yeah.
Big John says.
I just don't think Reese was the kind of guy who had a future.
They're like Horace Hogan. Yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
Go on, continue about.
You can tell he's in the Hogan gene pool. He just doesn't have certain genetic traits that Hogan does that works out in his favor.
With the same vest that Disciple wore, Bruce Beefcake. Same vest. You swapped it. Watch some more Nitro. That same NWO vest.
You're right. It's the same vest.
The one that Scott Norton
rinse and repeat.
They switched it off.
It's just like, okay, I got another lackey. I'll just have my other nephew be my lackey. It's like,
oh, think about it. That's how tough he was. Scott Norton was the only one in the NWO that had his own vest. It's Scott Norton. What are you going to do?
Here's one for you, Evan. Can you think of any like standout female matches from SummerSlam history that you really were fond of, or promos or programs?
No, I'm joking. No.
Damn.
Shout out to my.
Well, they were a female audience. Shit.
I was joking around. To my dear friend, who had two, Laundry Blaze, Juicer, Bertha Faye, and she went against
95.
95 and her career.
Yeah, that was solid.
Hokuto, right? Carrie Hokuto. She had two. 95 was Bertha Faye, and I think 94, 93 was Carrie Hokuto.
I think it was Bull Nakano, I think.
Bull Nakano, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nakano. Those two definitely.
Hokuto was in WCW, I think in 97.
That's right, 97. Yeah. Those two definitely. Sherry, her involvement. Just as anything was sensational, Sherry.
The Macho
King,
with
92.
92.
Yes, people forget.
You can't punch me in the face match. Oh
yes.
my God.
Oh, I love that match.
That one,
what a stipulation. No punching in the face. It's and then of course the referee goes down, so they're just like we just start punching each other in the face.
It was one the years me and Raj Gary was talking about this earlier out. So after a certain time, some of the years mesh. Wasn't it one with like Charlotte and somebody?
Charlotte and Trish Stratus had a SummerSlam.
Yeah, that was good.
I really liked that hell out of that.
That was good.
That was a good one.
I was going to mention it.
See, ladies, give y'all credit. You know, around that time. Early millennium. I had to be one. Was it Vita, Trish, Victoria? I see it in my head. I'm trying to think like 01, 02.
With early millennium, it's Survivor Series that tends to get my notice because that's where they had.
That one.
Trish hardcore match. I just for some reason I just don't think they got the shine on SummerSlam. I think on some of the other shows.
They didn't. Falls women, females.
Yeah.
Depending on what. No, people are sensitive about names.
We all know about that era too. That was just
it's
Johnny
not
Laurinaitis era.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, what would be your favorite Undertaker match at SummerSlam?
Oof.
Well, I'm not even going to bother answering because I already said Brett versus Taker.
What? Well, that's an easy one. Everyone's got. I mean,
I'll see what Dan says first, and if he doesn't say what I'm thinking, I've got a number two.
You know he's going to say Taker versus Taker 94.
No, well, I would.
No.
That's a guilty pleasure.
Bruce Pritchard said he loves that.
That's actually 94. It's
that was a guilty pleasure. That is.
Yeah, the Brett Owen match though was fucking fantastic. One of the few cage matches without any blood that's I think fantastic. Best Taker match. I'm gonna go 98 against Austin. because the buildup I thought was fantastic. Some could argue that they've had better matches, but I felt like that.
Austin got concussed in that match.
He did, but there were just the leg drop onto the table. When he hit him with he got him from the apron and he hit him with a running choke slam.
Yes.
Like it was. There were moments in that match I was just like, wow, that was really cool.
Hey, do you notice how Austin always had them dangly ankles? You ever watch when he was like stunning Steve Austin himself, his ankles always seem like they're like an action figure.
For me, it'd be Taker versus Edge at SummerSlam in the Hell in a Cell match.
Oh wait, yeah, that's a damn good one too.
After the Benoit situation, I stopped watching wrestling for like 5 years, but I made one major exception, and that was when I found out that Edge versus Undertaker happened at Hell in a Cell on SummerSlam, and I rented that DVD from wherever I was, from the Army store, whatever the fuck. I was in the Army at the time, and I watched that, and it was a blast. I think it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think the Undertaker was. I think the match is finished involved the Undertaker dragging Edge to hell through the match.
Was that the one where he chokeslammed him off the ladder
through the ring, and he hit and then the fire came up.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean,
that was a damn good feud.
Yeah, that was the one break in my sabbatical, in my multi-year sabbatical from wrestling, was actually watching that show just because of that one match.
That Mania match too that they had at Mania 24 where they closed the show was fantastic.
I didn't see that one until years later.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, it was great.
And I felt like that this match actually was better, which I was just like, how is that even possible? Yeah. Like the main event was fantastic at Mania, but this match was even better. Edge doesn't get a lot of credit that he has
a lot of great feuds,
but he should.
So many good feuds.
And in fact, Ed said recently on an interview, I don't know if it was before he left WWE or one of the AEW ones, about how it was his idea how he pushed for Taker to choke him. Like they was talking about the Hell's Gate. Remember, it used to be called the Devil's Triangle.
Right.
Remember that we used to go a triangle choke. We switched it to Heaven's Gate. And one of the greatest WrestleMania scenes in wrestling history is Charles Robinson doing a full sprint on that long ass ramp.
Going up that ramp, going down the ramp, yeah.
Yeah, it's the greatest wrestling referee run-in of all time. Beyond dispute.
I have to agree with you guys because, of course, to go to be him against Brett, and then second to be him at Austin, which is funny because SummerSlam 96 was Heart and Soul.
97 was Heart and Soul.
97 was Heart and Soul. Yeah. 98 was Highway to Hell, and 99 was just 99 with Jesse Ventura. We didn't really get any, which is a forgotten SummerSlam, by the way. No one
Out of Body Experience, I think was the tagline.
Yeah, then they had the black cover.
Yeah.
And no one
SummerSlam 99 is Triple H versus Mankind versus Austin. Ventura, one of my heroes, being the referee.
And no one ever talks about that match. No one ever really talks about that SummerSlam.
I don't think it was originally planned the way it was. It was I think there was a whole bunch of bullshit, and plus Russo was getting ready to leave. Though nobody else knew that but Russo. Son of a... But
they had a hard year. 99 was a hard
99
year.
99 wasn't the best year.
No.
They made money, but it wasn't.
They made so much money, but creatively they were
15 was ass. Royal Rumble 99 was ass. Besides Rock and Mankind.
Just watch Austin versus.
But that match hasn't aged well at all.
Rock in 15 and just ignore the rest.
Yeah.
Well,
don't say the Sable match. I'm gonna find you.
Nah, that didn't happen. Nah. Foley and Show was decent.
Yeah, it was fair dues.
And the only good thing about WrestleMania 15 is if you had the collector edition with the book, let's still have it. Had the little funny graphics with the little camera roll, and Freddie Blassie was doing all the voice.
Oh yeah.
I was amused that China came into WrestleMania 15 heel, turned face, and then turned heel again. All in one show.
Oh, you forget Shawn Michaels did it after he lost to Hogan. He became face on Raw the next night. And all
Yeah,
he
but
had to
that
say
was the
is,
next night.
That was
Oh,
next
yeah.
night. This was literally a
Kinda
show.
did 2 turns in one, like an
Two
hour and
turns
a
in
half.
one night.
yeah, sure.
I mean, Big Show's done that probably 9 times though.
Yeah, I'll get the Big Show here. Someone actually, I don't know if it was on CageMatch.net or what's the other database, wrestling database, Cage
Pro
Match.
Fight Database is the other one.
Yeah,
Pro Fight
Someone,
DB.
I think
yes,
it's Cage Match usually the one that
Cage
usually gets
Match.
quoted.
Or
Cage Match
Wrestling
is the best one.
Database.
Yeah,
Cage Match. Someone actually counted how many times Big Show has turned face and heel through his whole career.
Damn. What was the
Like
number?
late 20s or something.
Jesus.
I mean, the fact that someone had that time on their hands to do that, but thank you, because that's what you have to do. You have time to do.
I like counting, and
Thank
that's
you.
even beyond me. I have counting hobbies. That's beyond me, even.
I think
You
I
know
think,
about a couple of my counting hobbies because
Oh,
it's been a
yes.
while since we talked
We do
about
know,
it.
right?
I still do it.
the Steiner match.
So fans don't think it's weird. I like watching TV shows and counting deaths on screen. Just okay, fans are going to think that's weird, but still,
No, it's not
I
weird.
do. I don't do it with deaths, but I do it with like certain things. If someone says a lot, or they do like a certain hand gesture or certain things, I find out repetitive. I'll count. Like even when I be at speeches and someone keeps saying, I will sit and actually count. No, it's
there was a spell on Pro Wrestling World where everyone was going crazy about Cena's. They were all saying Cena only has like 5 moves. So I was doing match reviews where I would count out each individual move.
Oh my God.
At like 12, 15, 16, something like that. I did that for a little bit, caught a little heat. It was great. Early days.
Here's one you could do is how many times Shivani has said this is the greatest match
Every fucking week for 10
every
years.
week for 10 years, or Bobby
You
Heenan
doing that,
saying,
Rick?
"Oh,
This is the greatest night in the history of our sport. You fucking said that too.
He said it
biggest
in
main
AEW.
event.
He says it. I think
the
he said
biggest
it
main
in his
event
like.
Nitro. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Goldberg against Hogan. Then later, the greatest night in Nitro, Sting and Hogan rematch in Baltimore for Starcade. All the biggest night WCW history. Flair against Hall. No reason,
Okay.
just a grudge. No
Hogan
title.
versus Goldberg is probably certifiably the
Yes.
greatest night in Nitro.
That's the greatest night in
on
history.
that, but he never should have said it again just because of that.
No,
Well,
he should have. That should have been the end when it was just like that's it. You'd never have to say it again.
That's when WCW jumped the shark because, and I don't mean the idiot view of jumping the shark where it's like terrible. More like it's so awesome it can't be replicated. The original intention of the phrase "jump the shark," and that's where WCW did that. They jumped the shark with Hogan versus Goldberg, and nothing they could have ever done afterward just measured up.
I will say, back to Taker, I think we can all agree that the Trinity, the trifecta, is Heart and Soul, Highway to Hell, him and Edge.
Yeah.
Those 3. Now, I'll give you one that's underrated. That was really good. Is 03 when he went against A-Train.
Yeah, that is a damn good one.
That was, because remember, 03 he went against A-Train, 04 he went against Tess.
Yeah.
So, the A-Train...
02 is Tess.
I'm sorry, 02 was Tess.
04 he was up against JBL.
Didn't Taker do Orton one year, or was that?
That was 05.
That was 05, which was good match, not better than that Mania. Him and Orton had good chemistry.
Mania was better.
Orton and Jim.
I actually liked the Unforgiven match they had really well.
Yeah, that was good. Taker and Jibble, good feud, but yeah, I call JBL Jibble. I just never thought they had the best chemistry. Like, their match just wasn't bad.
No.
It's not because they can't work, because Jibble's great, so was Taker, but it was like Batista against King Booker.
Yeah.
Huh?
Booker and Batista just did not mesh right.
Yeah, they just didn't mesh like Jibble and Taker. They get feud and get just.
One match I want to mention though, from 2001. If you were to ever ask me to list what I think is the greatest match to ever end in a disqualification, it's got to be Kurt Angle versus Steve Austin.
That's a damn good one.
Hold on.
Especially the way the DQ was built into the story.
One of my top 5 all-time wrestling matches of any era, Austin against Angle 01. The commentary, Heyman and Jim Ross, the aftermath when Jim Ross went off on Heyman, remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is to me it's their best match. And I've seen all of their matches, and all their matches were great. The Unforgiven ones they had on Raw, the one they had on SmackDown.
I would say that Angle versus Austin is probably the second or third best match of the entire Attitude Era. Because my opinion, the Attitude Era does not end until
the night shitty matches
wins the titles.
Yeah, they had a lot of shitty matches in the Attitude Era too.
They did.
The night Jericho wins the title, I consider to be the end of the Attitude Era. And not so much as an insult against Jericho, because it was a great night for him, but just the whole feel of the show changed like that night. It felt like the end of an era when Austin and Rock lost both.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically the end
Austin's
of the
last
era,
title reign. So yeah, it was the end of an era.
Technically the Attitude Era ended after Mania 18.
Yeah.
18.
Because they say, remember,
a lot of disputes. I've seen 9/11. I've seen the first show after 9/11 being listed. I've seen WrestleMania 17 being listed. And
17 was still Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I just know what people have mentioned. And lastly, the furthest out I've ever heard is WrestleMania 19 because that was the last Austin Rock battle. But I don't agree with that at all.
Because historically, 03 is when the Ruthless Aggression Era started.
Yeah.
So we do know the Attitude Era ended in between, like you said, Vengeance 01 to about Mania 18.
Yeah.
But we do know when 03 hit, is the beginning of 03 is definitely when the Ruthless Aggression Era started.
It's when the OVW, when the OVW4 are starting to dominate.
And that's when
Brock was already dominating in 02, but the OVW4 really start taking their places on both shows at that time. Cena, Orton, Batista, Lesnar.
Well, think about it.
Was that the SmackDown 6?
All those guys. No, that was Edge, Eddie, Ray, Kurt Angle, Benoit. I forgot who the sixth guy was.
Was it Brock?
Brock. I think it was Brock.
Yeah, Brock.
I think it's Brock.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how much Vince has buried WCW over the years, and yet for about 2.5 years, SmackDown was pretty much reliant on WCW talent in order to stay relevant.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, what would you guys say, and this is a tough one, is the greatest overall SummerSlam in history? Now, the great from top to bottom, and I'm gonna give these years out because me and my friend was talking about this last month.
I probably got an unorthodox one, but I'll wait.
We always feel, and it's up my opinion, 01, 02, 03, 04. Those years could be considered top to bottom, all great matches up and down the card. 01, even though WCW being sabotaged, could be considered one of the greats. Wait a minute, is that the one with the cage match with Chronic?
No, Chronic and that was Unforgiven 01.
Unforgiven, okay. So 01, you could give. 02, definitely. I mean, you had Jericho against Flair and Eddie against Benoit, RVD. One of them. I mean, main event. 03, the Elimination Chamber, all the matches that happened there. 04, the match you forget. Benoit beats Orton.
You mean Orton beats Benoit?
Orton beats Benoit, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Double matches on that. So, you don't even have to go by them years. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's your list.
Well, those are the years I think about, far as best top to bottom, best SummerSlams of all time. That's the years that come to mind. But what do you guys think? Because I haven't picked one out of those 4 years.
Like I said, I personally want to go with 1989, Rick Rude versus Ultimate Warrior #1, not the one that wasn't a cage match. That one's also, I think, the Mega Bucks versus Hogan and Brutus. And as much, I don't want to praise Brutus, I don't like that, but
it's not Mega Bucks. It's Savage and Zeus.
Savage and Zeus.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But like the main thing that wins me over with 89 was Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior, the first of their 2 SummerSlam matches. I don't know why people talk about the WrestleMania 4 match so well, because the SummerSlam 89 match
was good.
Rude and Warrior is probably the second best match in Warrior's career, in my opinion.
Is that the one where he put Rude to that power driver on Warrior? Like picked him up and dumped him on his head?
Yeah. There was a whole... This is 1989 we're talking about, WWF, but there is a shitload of fighting outside of the ring on that show, on that match in particular. And I always felt like this 1989, this one match between Rude and Warrior was like, it was like a sign of what was to come in about 5 or 6 years, because it really feels like an Attitude Era match, a light Attitude Era match that got slipped into the Golden Age. Just the way it kind of plays out. And the whole show is really good, too.
I never thought about that. Yeah, 89 was... I'm going to have to go back and watch 89 now. 89 was great.
You know, Zeus is 90.
No, it was 89.
Zeus was 89.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
Because 90 was Rude Warrior 2.
And then it was Earthquake and Hogan.
88 is Ted DiBiase and
the Mega Powers.
Yes.
Mega Powers, Mega Bucks.
Mega Bucks.
Yes. Okay.
With Jesse as the referee.
Yeah, that was.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot him again. He wasn't.
I think he's refereed 2 pay-per-views his entire life, and both of them are SummerSlam.
Plus, that was the end of the 454-day reign of the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh yes,
Warrior went in and
I love that
squash
like just because I don't like the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, come on. He's the greatest entertainer and greatest intercontinental champion of all time, and a major influence on Elvis. So
what? Oh, right. You can say that. I love this. I actually,
and the best swinging network in history.
I do got to give him credit. If you actually, it looks, I'm not sure about this, but it looks to me like he actually knows a little bit of how to play the guitar and sing just enough to get through that song.
Just enough.
And it works. Because I've seen a few clips where he's doing it live in his golden age, if you can call it that, and it actually sounds pretty good. If he can get so, he was good enough, and I like that. I'm okay with it.
Better than the Quebecers and amazing French Canadians trying to sing the Canadian national anthem.
We're not the Mounties. No, what?
Was it All American Boys? You let a song.
The Fabulous Rougeaus.
Yeah, those little
the All American Boys.
And you know what? And the finishing move was the flying teabag. Y'all don't remember that? He put his nuts in your face. Go back and watch. Yo, some flying teabag.
They slipped that in the golden era, huh?
Look, it was like he and Virgil was like all like, oh.
I think Jacques Rougeau was the one that just knocked Dynamite Kid's teeth out.
Yes.
Oof.
Was it Jacques? Because Jacques is Jake's PCO, right?
No, yeah. Jacques is the Mountie.
Jacques the Mountie, so the other one.
Yeah. And then it's
the other one's not PCO.
Jean-Pierre
Lafitte.
Yeah, Lafitte. Yes, that's PCO.
Yeah. I used to solidify the mounts. He did like the little front flip. We used to come in the ring to spot when you get the front flip.
Yep.
We did the side kick, stand lane super kick, which never connected.
He's a good wrestler, but he was a good wrestler. He just didn't connect like Brett, I don't think.
I remember when he had the shock stick and had Bossman in it, and he actually audio played like a shock thing.
Yeah,
I got that.
That was some WCW type crap.
Speaking of SummerSlam, Mountie was involved with that the jailhouse match with Bossman in '91.
I've never seen that match.
The fodder that happened when he went to the jailhouse was hysterical.
The part that forget the match. The match barely matters except for who loses, which is the Mountie. The best part is everything that happens afterward.
Yes,
I especially love when he's being taken to jail and he's resisting, and he's like, "You can't do this to me. I'm the Mountie." And then for like the next year, Bobby Heenan would just say, "But he's the Mountie."
But he's the Mountie.
So 89, Hmm. The recent SummerSlams, like the past 10 years, have y'all felt?
I
And do not mention this year.
Reigns was good.
Oh,
The
last year's
Reigns
was not good.
Forklift.
What was last year's main event? I'm trying to remember.
Jey Uso and Roman in that tribal.
Yeah, it was so disappointing.
Match.
That
should have been great. I thought it was going to be great, and it wasn't.
Jimmy comes out and turns on him. It's like, oh, we fucking saw this coming.
Yeah, after that, Jimmy did it like every week.
They had a whole hour, and I feel like an entire hour of SummerSlam was dedicated to either the entrances or the match itself. Or
that's the Reigns way, like Triple H. They're going to have minimum 45 minutes. I counted at WrestleMania this year. It was an hour and 20 minutes left to go in the show as they were starting up for the main event for Rock and Reigns versus Cody and Sethy Boy. We counted.
Yep.
It was an hour and 20 minutes left.
I wonder why people leak the Meltzer about how mad they are they don't get time on their shows. What a mystery this is.
The promo itself lasted 8 to 9 minutes. Then who came out first? Was it The Rock? Reigns?
No, I think it was Roman that came out first.
Roman came out. That was almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Rock came out. That was almost 12.
Rock came out. It was like 35 minutes.
35, yeah. The lightning bolts took about 2-3 minutes, like Dragon Ball Z.
You could have slipped an AEW match in there.
You could have.
I could have.
Yeah, you could have slipped the whole pre-show.
A good one, even.
You could have slipped the whole AEW pre-show, which lasts 2 hours in between.
Yeah. Come on, we're pissing off the AEW fans.
But it'll be all right. Get over it. As my wife says, did you die? No, suck it up.
Did you die? No.
It's like, come on now. Why the hell is AEW? Why do you have a 3 fucking hour pre-show?
Oh my god.
Then you got a regular show that lasts 5.5 hours. And then we gotta wait an hour before the medium scrum. Then we gotta wait 30 minutes for Tony Khan to sip on coffee and not comb his hair.
Then
we get to the people, we're tired.
The same assholes that probably praise Tony. No, I'm going off your point.
He's going on.
I'm riffing. The same assholes that talk about with Tony of like, they're like, oh, the shows are great. All these shows, 15 matches in a 4-hour show. And meanwhile, WWE was doing that 6-7 years ago, and everybody was just like, these shows are too long. But Tony Khan does it. Everybody's just like, oh, Tony, it's amazing. Oh.
I skip the pre-shows. I don't care which company does it. I don't watch the pre-shows. If they can't make pay-per-view, why am I wasting my time?
The last pay-per-view I had at time was like 4 hours and like 40-something minutes. And I'm like, how many? That's like, good Lord. That's like 16. You can go through a whole 2 seasons of the Cosby Show.
Jesus.
Like what
not our favorite person to talk about, sure, but yeah, we could.
Like 4 hours, that's like half a season of The Shield, which is one of the great cop shows.
There you go.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
Better than The Wire. Yes, I'm from Baltimore. You heard it first. I said it. The Shield is better than The Wire.
Oh, I've only watched The Shield. I've not watched The Wire.
The Wire is a great show.
I remember where I left off on The Shield. It's where that one cop gets grenaded by his friend on season 6.
Okay, you need to finish season 7. Matter of fact, I mandate you right now, and I have the whole season of Extra sitting right here in my house. I charge you whenever you can. I'll be watching with you. You can set up times throughout the week. I will watch it. We set up a day or something when I got time. I will watch from the episode you left off to each episode leading to the series finale. And I guarantee you, when the series finale hit, and that final scene hits, you literally gonna say, "What the fuck?" You're gonna look at your TV.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it. It's on my list.
It is one of the best endings. One of the best overall. Because literally, and we talk wrestling. It's like my show. We talk TV, movies, comic books. You don't like it? Hit pause. Hit fast forward. We'll give you the time stamps when we're done. Literally and have you seen The Shield? Keith? DQ?
I have. You mean
okay? I just want to make Dan, I just want to make sure I'm not spoiling. I'm not giving a spoiler alert. We know what the first episode was when they was in that house.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Remember what Mackie did. Just remember every single thing from that point. In Daniel attests to this. Every single thing Mackie did from that point, and everyone else, every single consequence goes not.
Oh yeah, that part I remember.
It literally every single thing Mackie, the group, the chief, all of them, every single thing.
They crossed the line with him. They crossed the line with him on the first episode, and you see from them on is almost like a Greek tragedy of a guy who can't go back cross a line because some lines can't be uncrossed. So that's pretty much what the whole thing. That's pretty much Mackie's whole arc.
So and it's not just Mackie. And Daniel, back me up on this, because as you go on to season
on the show.
6, everybody do fucked up shit, but everybody's shit catches up with them. So when you get to the series finale, matter of fact, when you get to the episode before the series finale, and you know what I'm talking about, and all I'm gonna say to you is the house appointment. Remember, his wife went to do house appointment. She did real estate.
Yeah.
Went to show houses. He knows what I'm talking about. So when you get to the last 3 episodes, one of the best overall series endings. Up there with Breaking Bad. Up there with.
Well, I'm rewatching it. I went back to season 1 because I felt like I forgot too much shit.
Breaking Bad.
Or not Breaking. The
Shield.
Oh, the Shield. So you
decided to rewatch it because I forgot too much shit.
So you currently on series? You on season 6?
I was on season 6 before I decided to restart.
All right, go back to. I'm not going back to season 1. I'm sorry. Go back to season 6 where you was at. We'll talk about that after we get off the air. And then, even if you can, we could do a future episode.
Oh, I've got it. I've got Hulu and the Shield's on there.
Okay, is it unedited?
Well, I've seen a few words that could get us in trouble even on this show up there, so I think we're good.
Did he show that episode in full when the captain had to get the blowjob when the
Oh Jesus! I remember that.
That's one of the hardest episodes, man.
The rape
that show is hard.
Oh man,
you don't screw around.
That was one of the.
That was dark.
We'll get back to SummerSlam, guys. Here's a quick tidbit I learned watching the extras. So Glenn Close, when she was on the show,
yes, she was great.
You know, she was supposed to come back this next season, her character, but her daughter was about to graduate college, and she decided that she wanted to be with her daughter, graduating college, and so
right.
That's why he closed it out kind of ambiguous with Glenn Close, with Mackie, which I think they was about to do something to get it in. But that's why they kind of closed off what he was standing in. Was that Mackie's apartment?
I think so, yeah.
You remember they was talking? I'll mention this, and this is a spoiler alert. We all have seen up to this point. Something that has not been resolved, and we still wonder. Who was the father of the baby of, what's her name, that Mackie cheated on his wife with?
Yeah.
Remember he got it in with her, but she also had the boyfriend.
That's true, but I think they figured it out. It was Mackie's kid.
Oh, was Mackie's kid? Okay.
Yeah, I think they did kind of figure it out. It was Mackie's kid.
All I know is the thing that sticks out me most with that show is whenever there's a suspect in a room, Vic Mackey opens the door and unplugs the security camera. Shit's about to go down after that.
Yeah,
he just turns around, unplugs security camera, and you're like, "Oh shit, here it comes."
And my man in the game. We're about to go back to SummerSlam in a second. One of my favorite characters is what's the dweeb dude, the real intelligent Dutch. I love Dutch. I love Dutch. Man.
I know he's not. I know there's some fans that like him, some fans who don't, but I'm in the love Dutch camp.
I like Dutch.
I love Dutch. Dutch was probably
CCH Pounder, who I was.
Oh yes, I love her.
I love her, and I loved her.
She is fantastic in that show.
She used to get, and I used to laugh, and I'll say this because I won't say more, spoil it for DK. The time she got so mad because she just so close to getting Mackie and she couldn't. It might be like Batista when he was trying to be King Booker for the title.
Yeah,
he was to get so pissed off, like so close.
Because she was the only person on that show that was clean. She never did anything that she was the only one on that show that was clean, had a moral cleanness. And then, of course, she had the flaw because she had the lupus, which was eventually going to get her. But she was the only one on that show that was just, she was the conscience
even
of that whole thing.
So it's a weird scene.
Would you say that again?
Even Dutch had like that moment where he strangled a cat. It's like everybody else was just like weird in some way. There was just one episode, like season 3. He just
the cat pissed him off so badly.
Yeah, he just busted a major serial killer, but serial killer kind of got to him a little bit, so he just strangled the cat like this, like serial killer rage. I remember that very vividly.
Didn't the captain? Wasn't that the reason why CCH became in charge? Because the captain became the mayor.
Yeah, something like that. Councilman. Yeah.
He was a good character. He had
actually like, really good too.
He was dirty.
He had his issues.
Oh, he cheated on his wife, and then he had kind of like he only did dirt if he had to and if it helped him out. But he just didn't do it.
He was more of your traditional classic
political. Right? He did political stuff.
Yeah, he was a political like type. You know what? I'm going to try to be by the book, but like at the same time. Like, if he needed Mackie to bust somebody's head, he had no qualms about doing it.
Oh, I know. He wanted to screw over Mackie until he needed him. It was like a weird thing. And it happened more than once.
Yep.
And he realized he respected him. It was kind of those things where you just, Goku and Vegeta. You just, friend of my friend, was it enemies? Friend of my friend's your enemy or something? Whatever their friend,
yeah,
their phrases.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Is my friend.
That's the old saying.
Michael Corleone.
Great, Dick Tracy version. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy. The Dick Tracy version.
Which people forget. Al Pacino was the main villain in Dick Tracy.
Yeah, it was Big Boy Caprice.
That was my first Al Pacino movie because I was a kid.
Yeah, same with me.
Memories of that.
He got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Yeah. So there's only one Washington, one Napoleon, one me. It's actually a really good point, even if it is from a very stereotype character.
We can go on and on about movies and stuff.
Pacino yelled at the showgirls.
More. Pacino one-liners. Remember the recruit? What's his face? Penguin. Colin Farrell. It was like, you caught my hand in the cookie jar. Remember he got caught because he was corrupt. You never saw The Recruit? It was Pacino.
That was the Colin Farrell movie. I've watched a lot of Al Pacino, but I've not seen. Huh?
I think Colin Farrell was in it.
Yeah, he was. It was The Recruit. Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, I've not seen The Recruit.
I haven't seen it in years.
But most people don't know.
I've seen like Scarface, Dog Day Afternoon. Serpico is probably my favorite Al Pacino movie ever. I've seen The Godfathers, all 3 of them, even the third one, I guess.
Yeah, the third one never happens. Like RoboCop.
No, never happened.
That one never happened.
Another one. There was another one that he plays this blind bastard son of a bitch, and I absolutely
Son of a Woman.
That is a great movie.
You forget one. The Devil's Advocate.
Not seen it.
Carlito's Way.
You've never seen The Devil's Advocate?
It's on my list. I have a long list.
Casino's Way. Heat.
I've seen Heat.
Heat's a fucking masterpiece.
Which him and De Niro was mad at each other because of ego, so they never filmed together. They just did like a little CGI thing, like they was in front of each other. I don't know if you know that or not.
Well, nowadays they're like brothers.
No, they did. They actually did that diner scene together.
Oh, they did. Everything else
they did. No, they did the diner scene together. They did the diner scene, and I think they did the ending scene together.
Oh, I remember Al Pacino going, she has a great ass. There was a movie from 2002 he did that was really good too. I fucking forget who it was.
Insomnia.
Yes.
Insomnia was great.
Righteous Kill.
Not seen it.
Don't you think that was kind of like a wannabe, like a remake of not a remake, but like a, I'm trying to say Cube. But it was too familiar to what's the movie that came out that was similar? But this ain't too familiar. It was too hyped up.
I it was one of those deals. It was like I didn't even know who the director was. I was like, who the fuck is doing this? Like, and you could just tell from like that was the first movie that I saw pirated, because I was like, I don't know if I want to pay to watch this. And then somehow there was a really good screener copy that got released. This is like 2008.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So like if you could get a good screener copy back in 2008, you were doing pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
But I remember watching that and I was just like, oh my God, if I paid for this, I'd be pissed.
Oh, I haven't seen too much of Al Pacino past, I think, Donnie Brasco and Heat. I think those
great.
Irishman's really good.
Before that, but like after that, it's kind of spotty.
Irishman is really good.
I haven't been able to dedicate 2 weeks of my life to watch The Irishman. That's on my list. It's Scorsese. Everything Scorsese is minimum. Matter of fact, just imagine if Tony Khan bought a wrestling show with Scorsese directing, that pay-per-view will last like a week and a half.
Yeah. But
I think that would be the only thing that would save his company.
Absolutely dramatic, That would be the most dramatic finishes you'd ever seen.
It's now.
You'd be like, MGF would tell Adam Cole, he'd kiss him on the mouth and said, "You are my brother." That's what would happen.
So with SummerSlam, we're back to SummerSlam, guys. And then like a little detour happens. SummerSlam theme songs.
I think it's easy with Highway to Hell.
Oh yeah. Damn the WWE Network for editing that.
That bullshit production. Y'all don't remember one of the greatest ones? Saint Anger by Metallica, 2003.
My wife loves Saint Anger, and
that's if you go back. Well,
I love me Metallica, but anything Saint Anger, I'm like,
yeah. I will say this, but the promo video, the unedited one, because I'm sure they're not showing that work. You remember this DK with the drum, the double kick, and he had the Austin and the promo that he did with with Goldberg and the Elimination Chamber. That was actually a pretty darn good build up. I know
these things on YouTube if you really want to.
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube.
The build up for Shawn and Triple H at 2002 is a damn good one too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That whole angle was great.
I actually think that was my match of the year for WWE in 2002. Was actually Shawn and Triple H.
If I had to pick probably my favorite SummerSlam, it would probably be 02, because you had Shawn and Triple H, and that fact that Shawn's back after 4 years, and then of course Brock and Rock to end it.
Rock.
Like just. And then Rey Mysterio and Angle, I think, opened it.
Yeah.
Like it's just an insane card, Rock top to bottom.
That was Angle and Mysterio. That's a crazy.
And Eddie went against hold up, let me fair check here. Let's pull up the SummerSlam.
I think he was on Raw at the time, so that narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah, because he had that match with
Raw.
He had that match with Rock a few weeks, I think, right before SummerSlam.
A few weeks before he had a match with
where he countered the fucking Rock Bottom with an arm drag.
With an arm drag, yes.
I was like, I'm watching that and I'm like, the guy is a genius.
And
like
he is. And his me is as analytical as I'm looking at stuff. It's one of the last time you seen Eddie wear those red tights.
That's true. He switched it up after
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You'll get real close to me. That's why me and DK kind of like weird in a way. If you look at like small stuff like that, like where it's one of the weird last things, because that's when he started transitioning to the Eddie that we know. And because of the OT match, he ended up getting those pantyhose tights later on in Survivor Series. Thank you for that.
Man, they love pantyhose tights.
Oh God, those brown.
None of the story with that.
Those UPS tights and the bow hair, like the haircut. It's like
Remember, it was like alternate. It was an alternate.
That made the video game too. I was like, "You're shitting me, right? Really?"
Alternate attire. Who's going to pick that?
No question. There was no way I was picking that. I was like, "No way, no way."
So the match card for OT SummerSlam, the dark match with Spike Dudley defeating Steven Richards. Angle against Ray started. Flair against Jericho was the next match. Another good.
That was actually pretty good.
That was good.
Edge defeated Eddie. The Un-Americans. Oh yeah, this is a good one for the tag titles.
Is that the one where Edge injures his neck, or is that a different match?
I think that was a different match.
Different. This was Un-Americans. Christian and Lance Storm Chance defeated Book Dust.
That was like year 2 of the 4-year run of foreign heel tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 2 versions of the Un-Americans too.
Oh, this was a good one.
Yeah,
this was a good one. I think somebody got busted open in the hallway. RVD against Benoit.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
The title gets censored on Peacock on that specific match unless they've changed it.
Really?
He has like the Intercontinental title, and it's like, guys, it gets blurred. It might. I don't know why.
It still has the F logo, probably.
That would be my guess, because it doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah, probably still has the F logo.
There's a little bit of WWF censorship that still exists every now and then.
It does. Because sometimes if you hear them say WWF, you don't see WW. Or they have like a little blur. Because in the old days, some copies you get, they'll blur out the F, and the others they'll put
I hated that.
The Attitude Era was really bad because like half the fucking screen would be blurred sometimes.
Yes, they would just have to block out the entire
F. It was like your screen, Evan, except it didn't make sense.
Right. It's my background was. You can actually see me instead of WWF for like blur eyes blurred here. So I put the title up here, like half the face be blurred. You see this?
Yeah. But Austin puts somebody in the corner, and all you're seeing is him kicking a blur. It's like, what?
Yeah, that was Taker defeated Test. Mike was against Trips, and Brock against Rock.
No, I just do not remember that Triple H Test match at all, and I know I've seen it at least twice.
You mean Taker and Test?
That's what I mean.
What you going back to 99?
Huh?
You said Test and Triple H.
I did? Yeah, my bad. I don't remember that one either. But
no one does. Well, I guess I did.
But Taker versus Test at 2002.
That big boot he hit on Taker.
Yeah.
That was one of the best video game finishes to do that.
That was a sick.
And then they got Test over not too long after that with Stacy Keibler coming out about your testicles, and it got over for a little bit, and so actually when it gets over, they decided to flush it, and then they just mistreated Stacy Keibler, and instead of giving you, oh my God, what a son of a bitch, it was like, you don't really want to see that. And it just kind of ruined. Like everyone blames. Scott Steiner was involved in that madness too.
He had drop foot, drop toe, because he was hurt.
Yeah, drop foot. Yeah,
drop foot. Yeah, and Stacy Keibler's not a legend. She's not a WWE Hall of Famer. I said it.
You heard it here first, folks.
He was a Ravens cheerleader. I'm surprised you're not rooting for.
I'm glad she was. Braun Breaker was the Ravens.
Keibler started as a Nitro girl, or am I thinking of a different one? No, that's Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson.
Okay.
No. Stacy Keibler, I think, she won the contest to be a Nitro girl.
Keibler used to be a cheerleader for my Baltimore.
She Got Legs is probably one of the better entrance themes for the models era of a woman's wrestler, because it works. It does. She's got legs.
No. If I will say this, and I'm gonna use, as I call it, my Ultimate Warrior theory, is because of her persona, her character and look, and because of what she added to the business, I will say she's a WWE Hall of Famer. Because everybody knew her with legs. Remember her. She was with the Dudleys, Test, all of that. So I will give her that. Just like Warrior. No one remembers Warrior's matches. Too.
Yeah, don't ever watch the Saturday Night's Main Event matches with the Ultimate Warrior at his peak. Don't do it.
Oh, I've seen it. But what's worse is, do you want to watch the Dingo Warrior matches with Gary Hart?
No.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, hard pass.
Yeah. I said I got one worse for you. Those were bad.
Another thing I remember from Stacy Keibler was when they had, I think Union Underground, if I got the title right, they did the Raw theme.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
And she did that dance, and even the lead singer had a hard time focusing on what he was doing because he kept trying to stare at her while she was doing the front and center dance during part of the song. And then every now and then we go to Jacqueline and don't whatever the fuck she was doing.
She cannot talk. She cannot talk.
Stacy Keebler.
Nah, Jacqueline. It's Jackie.
Yeah.
She's
Wrestled
all right.
pretty good though.
No, she can wrestle. Have you heard her talk?
We'll
back and watch. We'll back and watch the Nitros in '97 with my buddy, the late great Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan, yeah, that whole angle.
And I just saw a spot on the Nitro. I'll show you the clip.
I heard Meltzer buried Kevin Sullivan.
I'll show you the clip through Peacock. She did a splash on Chris Benoit, and her breast padding popped out of her bra, and it came all the way out in the ring. So she splashed him.
You mean to tell me chocolate titties more than once?
No, 3 times actually. I think it was Fully Loaded 98. 98. It popped out.
Is that what she was on top?
And then it was Capital Carnage. She was on the legs of and that was when she got her shirt ripped off.
Bruce Pritchard revealed that apparently the entire inspiration about Topless Jacqueline was because Vince saw her and just screamed at the top of his lungs, chocolate titties. And that was how the entire angle was created.
Chocolate titties.
Chocolate titties. And that's where it's supposed. That's where Pritchard said the whole idea came from.
Nothing wrong with titties.
Just saying that.
Nothing wrong at all.
Titties.
Nothing.
Especially these chocolate titties.
You know what? There's a clip of Jacqueline taking a smack across the face from Inoki. She was in line with everybody else. A whole bunch of Japanese wrestlers, but there were 3 or 4 Americans there, and she was one of them.
What?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
She just let him slap her?
It was a tradition thing. You line up every year. You line up every year, and the whole roster just gets slapped in the face by Inoki. And she was there as a guest, and she took one.
So he did the Sean Connery. No, somebody has to just slap a bitch sometimes. Right?
He hugged her.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
Yeah. It was her and another woman another woman wrestler who I don't know, and they both took it. And they both took a shot.
But you don't know. You can use Google Translate. What was it? Google Lens. Just take a picture of them. Google Lens to tell you who she is. Whoa. It's technology, man. Come on. You know that? Anything you don't know, just use Google Lens. Take a shot. Then it'll pop up.
I was there. Here's me getting punched in the face by Inoki. He's been dead for 10 years. Doesn't matter.
So, a little Photoshop.
A match that gets forgotten about. The Kane and Shane McMahon match.
I don't forget about that. That was fucking brutal. I love
that.
It.
Was the
It's got to be. I'm trying to think.
Was that the cables?
No, I thought Kane fought RVD that year. No, I thought it might have been Matt Hardy.
Yeah, that Matt Hardy match, because that's when he botched and fell on the top rope and flipped.
Oh,
Kane fell. Why do I think Kane?
The number one thing I remember from the Kane Shane thing is testicular electrocution.
Oh, yes.
I thought it was great. It was over. I thought it
was great.
Suck.
I'm fine with
that. That was a great feud. That was a great feud, though.
It's not even my favorite moment of 04. My favorite moment of 04, as far as so bad it's good, is field goal kicking the damn baby from Snitsky. One audience doing everything he can to catch it, only to realize it's a toy. He was going to be a hero, and it was a doll.
Summer of 04 was tough because we had the whole Eugene thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't I don't think it's as bad as it gets its credit for, but it definitely wasn't top of the line Academy Award WWE.
It can be any worse than 1994, 93 and 94. Can be any worse than 2018 to 2019.
No, very little is worse than 95 or 2019. Or WCW in the year 2000, which is actually the worst. That was a Titanic falling in the water. It was painful.
We knew that was going to be. I don't count WCW 2000 as a bad year, even though it was, because we knew the inevitable. We We didn't know about 90.
The show was hitting the shits in the fans, but those last 6 months, those WCW wrestlers died with their working boots on, and I admired them for that. Yeah. I'll give them that.
I mean, 90. You say 95 was worse than 93?
93 was bad.
93 was bad. 95.
You talking about wrestling in general or just WWF?
WWF in 93 was terrible.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
Because 95,
there's no good show in 93, is there? The pay-per-views on the WWF side.
Well, I mean, King of the Ring 93 was here, and that was good.
That was good, but that was
That's like the one good one. On WCW side, it's about a mixed bag.
94 WWF actually is an underrated year.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad year.
Business was down, but the Rumble was good. WrestleMania was great.
SummerSlam was good.
Brett and Owen, they were pretty much dependent on the Brett and Owen.
SummerSlam was good. Survivor Series was good.
Was that the one with the sun rising? Chuck Norris?
Yeah, that was that was
Texas
the one with
Ranger.
The Texas Ranger. Yeah.
Here's a strange little trivia for you. Yokozuna only ever wrestled. Yokozuna wrestled 2 WrestleManias, had 4 title matches.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you're right.
He did.
And he won and lost a title match on each of the 2 Manias.
Yeah, he was 500 on both years.
Yeah.
Man.
Imagine having 4 title matches across 2 Manias, and that's like your Mania career.
Yeah, that's bad, man. Oh man, I was gonna say, man, 93 was horrible. I mean, 95.
Best part of 93 is Scott Hall is Scott Hall, and everything else is mostly dog shit.
Oh, Brett,
yeah. Well, you know what? You have this whole TV show called Monday Night Raw, and you got Bret Hart that everybody loves to see, and you don't have him on your fucking show for the whole fucking year, and that doesn't really help me like Bret. I mean, I like Bret. That doesn't really help me too much.
No, I thought
Oh, I let some emotion out on that one, didn't I?
I know you did.
Let it out, DK. Right. Let it out.
I went through that.
But I look at 93 and I just think of, and I hate to always repeat the story, but it also has to be told. So that was the summer of the Lex Express.
Oh.
And he came into the local area here in Massachusetts. So I went and I met him, and he didn't look up. He signed the autograph and he slid it across the table. And I was 10 years old, and I thought to myself, he didn't say a fucking word to me. He didn't even look in my goddamn direction. Fuck this guy. That was it. I was lost at that point. So going into SummerSlam, I was just like, I hope anybody wins the fucking title over this guy.
Oh, man.
And then he wins by fucking count out, and they goddamn release confetti and fucking balloons.
They
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? 10 years old. I'm like, he lost.
It's the dumbest main event finish in the history of SummerSlam.
Yes.
Either Yokozuna should have won or Lex Luger should have won the title. One of the two things should have occurred.
And just to make Daniel Key better, since 93 is a tough year, the Boston Red Sox ended the year in baseball 15 games under 500 with a record of 80 and 82. So let you know, I'm a baseball fan. Just 2 games under 500. Just close. Just like he was this close to Luger looking up in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, look,
man.
Here's okay. So I got 4 World Series in the last 20 years. While you guys are still going to pay Chris Davis $9 million until the end of the century.
Yeah, that's fine. And you're right. You're correct. I will say this: one that was under dumb owner who I met before, the previous owner who did that. He's the same one that, if you don't know, Bobby Bonilla got paid just as long as well.
I know.
I think he's still getting paid. So was crooked ass Albert Bell.
Well, I wouldn't say crooked. Well, it'd be crooked ass.
You want to go there? Fans, we'll get back to SummerSlam.
What about his numbers?
Before he went to the Orioles.
Well, I know that, but he had the hip injury.
You know when
that was
he
the
stopped
problem.
playing for the Orioles because he hurt his thumb, his wrist, or some shit?
He had a degenerative hip issue.
Yeah.
All I'm saying now is I'm never not going to picture them as the Baltimore Orioles now instead of Orioles. That's going to be in my head forever.
Well, right, and like I said, I rooted for you, and I will segue this into wrestling, since fans are like, "Oh no, they talking about baseball now." Shit.
Yeah.
My rest in peace, Kevin Sullivan, one of the greats. I had the honor of working with him multiple times, not the ring at different shows, and the honor to talk to him on the phone and call him as a friend. And I remember the year when the Red Sox were down 0-3 to them crooked ass Yankees. Now I remember every single game from game 4 to 7. Me and my mom, my late mother, rest in peace, watched it. We went for the Red Sox, and I talked to Kevin Sullivan on the phone with his big Red Sox. He said, "Brother, I almost cried. One of the greatest moments of all times." He had a strong accent.
I remember everybody writing off the Red Sox when they fucking won it. That was
the whole world was for the
I
Red
wrote
Sox.
them off.
Yeah, they fucking won it.
They were down 0-3. I'm like,
game.
the biggest fucking frauds in the history of this city. I wrote them off completely when they were down 0-3. I'm like, fuck this organization. Because you know what? It was an abusive relationship for years with the Red Sox and myself. It was just abusive. Every year that I thought that things were going to get better and things were going to get close, they'd fuck it in the end. And that was
me a damn
years.
river. Talk to an Orioles fan that went through 17 or so losing years. And now we're finally in the thick of things and winning. I don't want to hear anything. Y'all want
the World Series if you play them in a video game.
You know, it'll be, you know, you guys got Craig Kimbrell, so maybe you guys will be all right.
No, and I got a
baseball game. I got fucking traded. I was on the Orioles and I got fucking traded to the Padres.
That's even worse. I'll say this, even now, guys, when y'all World Series, I'm happy for y'all. I've been to Boston. I've been outside the Green Monster and done work in Boston and Massachusetts, which is amazing. I'll say this is
from Boston.
Closest we got. You know, when we had Bucky, got close. Lost in the ALCS, got swept by the Royals, which I was mad about. I remember we lost the year after that in the wild card when they had the one wild card game, which they got rid of, by the way. And when Buck made the decision of bringing in one of the pitchers, the starting pitchers, and not keeping the reliever. And my man Batista hit that home run for the Blue Jays. That was the end of Buck. And then now, I mean, we're doing pretty good. We just have to see. And your Red Sox, it is baseball.
We're hanging in there.
I still love Mo Vaughn. Still love Nomar Garcia-Barr. Still love the Roger Clemens. Still love Wade Boggs.
I love
I know my baseball. I love baseball in general. All the time.
I rooted for the 97 Orioles against the Indians in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't such a demand on your time because I love baseball too, but my God.
So is wrestling. Wrestling's a demand on your time. So is
but you can just not watch Raw and you won't, and they'll just tell you what happened on the promos.
Actually, speaking of baseball, you can appreciate this. This is my A's World Series '89 hat.
89. Yeah, I love the A's. The old school, the Bash Brothers.
Ricky.
Well, all-time favorite player, Ricky Henderson.
Well, how can you get a better leadoff hitter than Ricky Henderson? You can't.
What's the World Series the year the Arizona Diamondbacks beat the New York Yankees?
2001.
2001.
Yeah, everyone thought the Yankees were going to win because it was 9/11. The fucking Diamondbacks won. And that was
and get this. One of the Red Sox players that beat the Yankees to get to the World Series was the pitcher for the Diamondbacks that year, Kurt Schilling.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling?
Mr. Bird Killer.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Johnson.
I remember Clemens started Game 7. Clemens actually pitched well.
Bit of a psycho, though.
He's got some views.
Who?
Apparently, he's the Val Venus of.
Who is?
He's got Kurt Schilling's got some views. He's got some things there that
That's why Dolph got let go. They did the merger. That's the legit reason. I mean, I couldn't say it on air, but I knew. It's because his political stance.
No, it's just.
Hey, Dolph. Just remember, Dolph may have bagged Sonny at a time when people were like, no.
And he did it, and she took pictures. Did you see the pictures he took? Selfie of him in the room.
I have seen pictures I don't want to see, and Charles is responsible for a lot of that.
No, she just had a selfie of him sleep in the room after they got it in. He was not going to sleep under the covers, and she did like one of these. Had like the Tom Hanks thing when he took the picture. Yeah.
So she was with Shawn Michaels, and then she was with Shawn Michaels' Sloppy Seconds clone.
Yep.
At a time when Sonny wouldn't want to be anybody's sloppy
And
seconds.
Sean got her in her prime.
And allegedly Bulldog. I know people had rumors about
Really?
a lot of them.
Oh
actually
wow.
Yeah, there was rumors about Bulldog. And of course, there's still people that believe in the Brett thing, which I personally don't.
No.
Ahmed vehemently denied it, and I believe him.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, I don't think Brett.
I don't think Brett did it either.
No.
I think there was rumors that he did it, but some rumors are actually just bullshit. I think that was one of them.
Brett in his book was pretty open about his adultery, and he never mentioned her at all. And I think if anything, he probably would have said it in the book, and he would have copped to it probably.
The prime is actually Candido gets to be with her, but that didn't last long, unfortunately. It's sad, but she's the most attractive then.
I was told if I say this, you guys are gonna look it up, especially I know you DK. One of my earlier guests, and that's a WWE Hall of Famer, told me when we was on the road to a show, he said Bret Hart loves three things: loves black women, he likes some rap music, and he likes his weed.
I believe every single one of those things,
and that is true. And not derogatory, just saying his current wife is black.
Yes.
So he, great guy.
I can't really blame that. Apparently, we discovered that Vince likes black women too.
Oh yeah, of course. So did Kurt Angle. Keeps the reality.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I want to have sex with your wife. Not regular sex, bestiality sex. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's an Olympic medalist.
That has to be one of the greatest.
The shit they got Angle to say.
He's an Olympic medalist, for Christ's sake. Really? You could be on the cover of Wheaties.
He was like, the shit they got Angle to say, and he didn't get canceled for, even then, is amazing.
Did I send that to you last night? The other one, the promo with Ray, he said, I like to play with little boys. Remember they had the thing he kept saying?
Yeah. No, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
You gotta give it to Angle, though. Angle, just being an Olympic gold medalist, literally can.
He was the greatest wrestler of his time, maybe one of the greatest of all time.
Think about the time. We'll try this for SummerSlam of when Left Knee Rey Mysterio made his debut, 2002. Around that time, it was nobody better than Angle. No promotion.
No.
This is before Okada got big. This is way before.
Omega was just training in Deep South.
Yep.
Right.
Even that.
Marufuji Fuji and Kenta was kind of.
Nobody heard of Danielson yet. He was working, but nobody knew who he was.
Right. Nigel McGuinness was starting to get. No one was better than Angle. I mean, granted, Benoit was great. Don't get me wrong.
I think Angle's better than Benoit. I've made that argument before.
Well, I mean, it's.
Benoit's a submission wrestler. Angle can do Benoit submissions and then brawl with Austin. Benoit couldn't do that so well.
Benoit, in my opinion, has been not. I haven't been able to list him on any lists or rankings in 15 years.
Well, he's
more than
I go. Yeah, I give you a list. You can put him on. Seriously, wrestling. One of the top 5 choppers.
Yeah, choppers. I put on.
Tops he does.
You
can tell when he hates a person. You can tell when he doesn't like his opponent when he puts his nails in on those chops. You just watch. Sometimes he goes nails in. And he did that to Flair, so I always wondered what he existed between him and Flair. Poor Flair wrestled Benoit for like 2 months in like 2004 or something, and every night Flair would be all bloody on his chest. And I was like, shit.
He always made that noise. Yeah. With the little. Now, would you rather get chopped by Benoit in his heyday or Gunther right now?
Gunther,
because he ain't doing nails in.
Yeah.
I've seen him do nails in like one time his entire career. Like ever. All the fucking time.
My reasoning, I didn't know about the nails till you said it. That's a great point. My reasoning wouldn't even be nails as far as, being a former collegiate wrestler, amateur wrestler, and just seeing, because Gunther is taller and leaner Not saying it's not forced, but it won't be as impactful. Somebody shorter and stouter. That's Benoit was like a short and stout, so you would really feel that brunt force as
Yeah.
opposed to Gunther being tall, more like a slap down. Not saying it
Well,
don't hurt.
it's like the worst belly flop he ever had is what it looks like.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I mean that in every sense of how bad that must fucking hurt. I'll take either one of them over the Big Show though. Holy shit! Like I
Mm.
think he may have destroyed. I think he may have damaged Kofi Kingston's chest.
I'll tell you somebody who has some great chops that a lot of old school fans know, but a lot of current fans don't even know. Ronnie Garvin. Ronnie Garvin
Oh
did the
yeah.
opening
Oof.
Hands of Stone.
I wish there was more matches that was easy to find with him. What I
And
have found
Wahoo.
is
Yeah,
good, but there's just
yeah.
not enough.
Wahoo
He was.
McDaniel had chops too. That
Oh
were
yeah,
ridiculous.
Wahoo. Yeah, Wahoo. Trying to think of other people that chopped.
Funk.
Actually, Flair's chops in his prime was good. It was kind of a gimmick and a stereotype by the 2000s, but 80s and
Flair
early
in
90s Flair
'89.
chops is pretty damn good chopping.
I think
Flair
the
like
match
80.
Flair he had with the match he had with Funk. I think it was Great American Bash '89, and then
Here.
Yep, and then New York Knockout. You can
Yeah.
literally just hear it. You don't even need to be watching it. You just need to hear the sounds and just automatically know what you're
He had
watching.
that gunshot sound going real good.
Oh,
He didn't do it often, but late great Flying Brian had some good ones. He only did it if
yes.
he chopped, like he would get against Flair. Thanks
Nice
for
to
the city
see
shot
that
again.
chop is really getting used again. There was a period where chops were pretty much outside of Flair. You weren't seeing a lot of chops in wrestling, and now like everybody's doing chops again.
I know. I don't know if you guys heard the story. Edge mentioned how he was doing the leap with Benoit, and I don't know if this was. I don't know if this specific match he told the story. So he was doing the leap. He was feeding with Benoit because Edge was a heel doing the rated R time.
Probably
I
like
don't
04, 05.
04 or 5.
Yeah.
And the whole time, of course, Benoit's gonna chop it. Benoit's like, yeah, I'm gonna chop it over the match. And it was a rare because he said when he wrestled, Benoit didn't chop him the whole match. I think it was on the house show. So the whole time he got him in the corner, he was waiting for the chop. Benoit didn't chop him. He was on the house show. Chop him the one time. It's a red. Because the whole day he's preparing, like, we're going to chop. You
Well,
got like
the
a chop battle and stuff.
most infamous moment of chops in history is the Royal Rumble. Poor I would say poor Daniel Pooter, but apparently
fuck that guy.
Crap.
Like
Yeah,
just
he gets chopped from Eddie, he gets chopped from Benoit, and then suddenly you hear Bob Holly's music and Michael Cole's like,
tough.
he doesn't like rookies.
well, it's the fact that Pewter fucked himself when he put Angle in that
The key lock.
Kimura lock.
Come on,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
probably the first Kimura lock in wrestling, oddly enough, or at least
it was just the fact that he shot on him when he shouldn't have. When you're trying to, when you're trying to go for a contract like that, and mind you, I will say that Daniel Pewter was probably one of the most well-trained guys I had seen, at least because you see the some of the past people that they've had on that show that never really had been in a wrestling ring before.
Yeah.
I will say Pewter was experienced, but the problem is that you can't shoot on a guy when you're going for a fucking job with a company that's you're going to make a lot of money at. Like it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then he just came in
Angle
with
at
like
that time is the main event on SmackDown, so
if you
he's the main
did
event star of
anything
SmackDown, so that's
that
stupid.
caused any damage, your career is over. It's over. It was already
Imagine
over at that point, but it would have been worse.
So like imagine being a noob and just trying to do something to Cena in 2008. That's like the same kind of ballpark that Pooter was playing in.
Well, that's why, what you call me in the business some more? What's the dude?
Okay.
A-Rod, Alex Riley.
Oh yeah.
It's a Cena. He won't say the name, but it's Cena. Watch his interview that he did on YouTube. It wasn't by CVV. It was by I think it was it CVV, Chris Van Vliet, or was it someone else?
It might have been.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, he didn't say the name, but trust me, from
Yeah,
the people I just seen it.
He was open and honest, and he said that in past interviews, I think before that, saying that him and Cena there was some kind of falling out. I don't know what, but
Well, the amount of backstage reports about Cena has been slowly starting to trickle out over the last few years. I've noticed just little bits here and there, especially once AEW got it going.
Well, I know some things that I will not say on air. I will tell you off air. So, and it's nothing like discriminating against Cena's character. I mean, granted, I've met his brothers, I met his dad. You know, him as a person, know how charitable he is, make a wish. But just in the business, everyone has politics, and everyone done some shit. But just, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that JTG's book, when he says a WWE champion did this to him in a hallway, it could only really be Orton or Cena, and I think it's 80,
what was that?
80-20 at Cena.
I didn't even.
Why did I write this book? It's what it's called. I read that thing, and he says, and I don't even remember the exact details, but he says that like a current WWE champion at the time had really dogged him in the hallway, but he couldn't say whose name it was. But the way he described him, the description only really fits Orton or Cena. That's what I remember. And like I said, I got that book on Amazon Prime about during the COVID run or something, but I hadn't read it in a long time. But I remember that being in there, and you just couldn't name them. But the time frame and the description, like but in the physical description, sounded like it had to be Orton or Cena, and I leaned toward it being Cena, honestly.
Yeah, and shout out to JTG, great guy, respectful, and still
book. Why did I write this book?
and that still shows class to him, because he could have said the name.
I think
just out of respect.
I think he was under some kind of I think it was what is it? What is it they have all over
non-disclosure
NDA?
Yeah, I think he was under an NDA for that, because he trashed Shawn Michaels without even blinking.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah, he trashed Shawn Michaels, and he trashed either Lance Cade or Trevor Murdoch or both in that book. Don't get me wrong; everything about that felt fresh, like he was being honest and giving his take, and it wasn't some politics bullshit or trying to hurt people. But it was clear that there were people he could say stuff about, and so he was naming them, and there were people he couldn't say stuff about, so he'd talk about it, but he would just leave. He was telling you, but he couldn't tell you who. That makes sense. That's why I'm pretty sure an NDA was involved in there.
That's a good point. That's good. So definitely good guy.
A very fun read.
Let's talk about the great Khali in SummerSlam.
Oh Jesus!
Oh shit!
That's in my
dark era of wrestling where I didn't watch a lot of it.
You did.
I did.
Yeah, you can see him collect. You can see Dan dying over there, so I know he did. Let me ask you this question, Dan. As far as SummerSlam goes, at least, who is better in the ring, Giant Gonzalez or the Great Khali? They both have SummerSlam matches.
I'm gonna go with Bastion Booger.
God, I hate the Bastion Booger. I'm sure the man is nice, but the gimmick just makes me want to vomit.
I like Khali. I guess if I had to pick, it would be Khali.
Yeah, Khali.
But that also was like, oh, really? Well, which one do you want amputated? Do you want your left leg amputated or your right arm amputated?
But Khali at least can move.
Khali
can move a little bit. I mean, it's not his fault with him being his size.
Oh, he had way better presence.
But at least Khali could move a little and take a back bump. Could at least do a tiny bit.
Well, it didn't.
He was intimidating with his body too, because he was
muscles onto his bodysuit. No. He actually had the muscles. So they didn't have to fake it.
And not to mention, I didn't realize this until doing research for this show. It's even worse that he wore a darker variant of his outfit at SummerSlam against Taker.
Yep.
Which made it even worse. I don't know if you remember that, DK.
No, I remember.
He had the
all I know is the match between Taker and Giant Gonzalez at SummerSlam is worse than Mania, and yet significantly less memorable for some reason. It's a strange. It's a very strange black hole in like.
This is a rest in peace match. No countouts, no disqualification. So it's a fucking no DQ match. It's a goddamn no holds barred match.
See what Taker has not had the best luck.
Well, those 90s were rough to him. Okay,
they were very rough.
Even in SummerSlam history, you look at who he went against.
Worse.
Say that again.
Taker even got King Kong Bundy at one of his worser periods, and I like Bundy in the ring, but he was
WrestleMania 11.
Gonzalez, Undertaker,
WrestleMania 11 never happened. That match never happened.
Never happened.
It didn't.
Let's ever do a episode. Let's ever do a podcast about the streak. Then we'll have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and then
Here it is. We'll just read out the description. Anyway, next we can talk about Taker versus Sid, which is not great, but infinitely better than that.
Yeah, Taker versus Sid was not bad. It was not a bad. I mean,
Taker and Diesel was really good too for Mania 12.
Yeah, Taker was good. I mean, you always had it since we talked about Mania. Now, you still got Taker and Boss Man.
Oh Christ!
Which is so bad that they didn't even add it to the Hell in a Cell 3 this DVD set.
Well, that's
fair. I don't know. And the fact that Edge actually got caught dangling because I don't know if y'all know that or not. Because Pritchard said it on his show, Pritchard said on his show, and I think recently, Taker might have mentioned it. Yeah, Taker mentioned it on his show. That if you watch the Hell in the Cell when air quote hang Boss Man and they're trying to get away, you can actually see Edge dangling because his harness, whatever it was, got stuck.
No.
So he was stuck dangling for a while before he was able to pull him back up.
It's like your debut at Mania, and it's like, oh, I'm stuck. No.
Ed had a lot of rotten luck for debuts. Remember, he also injured that one wrestler in his first Raw match.
Oh God, I think it was.
Ed had some raw luck.
Oh, Jose Estrada.
Yeah, from
I watched that live.
Los Boricuas.
Totally forgot about this. Kane went against the Undertaker at SummerSlam.
2000.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
It ended, but I think Taker took his mask off, and then Kane just walked away.
You still could see his face.
You could just. He hit it well, but you could still kind of see it.
So you had SummerSlam 95, where it was Isaac Yankum against Brett, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Strange enough that it's
pre-Kane
pay-per-view match of Kane and Brett, and it's the dentist gimmick. Let's be honest. There's only been about two dentist gimmicks in wrestling, and Britt Baker has the better one.
Yeah, and we'll see what she does Sunday. We'll get back to SummerSlam.
I mean, don't get me wrong; it's not looking too great right now for her, but she's had a pretty good gimmick for the most part.
How about SummerSlam 91, that match made in hell that actually led to Ultimate Warrior being shit canned right after?
Oh God, that was a match.
Oh yeah, wasn't it Savage?
Savage and Elizabeth in the match made in heaven. That was the wedding. That was the main event.
This is Hogan and Ultimate Warrior versus
the Triangle
Iraqi people, which I believe would be Sergeant Slaughter and maybe
Colonel Mustafa / the Iron Sheik against General Adnan.
I fucking forgot about Adnan. They legitimately got a guy who looked like Saddam Hussein, but fatter and shorter. And worse.
If I'm correct, he Sheik is a Native American indigenous that played Iraqi.
I think he is, yes.
Yeah, he's actually a Native American. And he played Iraqi. If you ever watch some of his old matches, like the WWF, like when Vince was commentating.
Yeah.
And rest in peace. I think they both passed away this year. I think Sheik and Eggnog. The Eggnog passed away last year.
I forget.
Well, I think...
I know it's somewhat recently.
I think Sheik was 2023. I think.
Yes. No, it wasn't.
Sheik was this year.
Okay.
And I think Eggnog...
Well, I was sad either way. Fortunately, somebody's still running his Twitter and still saying "fuck you, Hulk Hogan," and I think that's a fair tribute. Even in death, it should still be "fuck you, Hulk Hogan."
Fuck you, Hulk Hogan.
Did y'all see when he had the Woody? The Hogan leg drop.
Yeah, the fucking Hogan, the biggest title change and one of the biggest title changes in wrestling history. He's about to put the camel clutch on him. He's full rod. Like, what the fuck?
It was an intense moment. It was an intense moment. You full of emotion.
He had a great. Yeah, I mean, I know that isn't SummerSlam or nothing, but Iron Sheik's 1 month reign as WWF champion is one of the best short reigns in the history of the company.
Yeah.
Greatest transitional champion in the history of the industry.
He had like several, or I mean, just what you can find on video, there's at least 4 or 5, but he had several high quality for its time matches.
Sheik was nothing
just
to play
that
with.
month that he reigned, and it was great shit.
He was more than just a gimmick. He was a medalist for the Iranian wrestling team. He was the bodyguard of the Shah of Iran.
He was legit.
He was not a dude you wanted to fuck with. But
even
then
when he got old, even when he got old and kind of not in the best shape, people still they were smart not to mess.
Well, those clubs, the clubs they used to do,
the purging clubs,
very rare. Like I've never seen really anybody been able to do that even remotely as close as well as he did. Bob Backlund did.
Backlund, and I think it was more about technique. When Mark Henry said he was able to pick him up, which is no problem. I don't know if Henry be able to do the thing because that's more like a technique. One of the few times you've seen Savage ever wear silver. Remember his attire for 91?
I do.
He had the silver tights with the black, which was like out of. Now say a few times he wore silver. He's worn silver before. Before is when he was wearing the short tights. That's the only time he's ever wore the silver short tights. We've seen him wear with the pants.
My mind's blanking because I keep going the Savage in '92 against the Ultimate Warrior, and that really
was.
Oh man, I forgot about that match.
Yeah, that was a good match.
It was like the most important element of that whole match was Ric Flair, and he wasn't even officially booked in it. And it was just a bizarre match.
Is that the one when he said, "What side is Piper on?" I'm not Piper. Perfect.
Yes, that was the one where
that was the "What side is perfect on" match. It was basically the main event kind of took a bit of a shit, which really probably helped make Bulldog versus Brett even better because the other match that everybody was interested in kind of shit the bed. So the fact that Brett versus Bulldog delivered so well, I think Brett versus Bulldog, as great as it was, actually benefited off of Warrior and Savage shit in the bed.
That saved the show. That saved the show, in my opinion.
Because when you think of SummerSlam '92, and this we, since we're live, this is something to talk about as well, of the famous images or moments when you think of a SummerSlam by year. What are some of the first things or the moments we always see? You hear SummerSlam '92, you're going to see 2 things. You're always going to see the Road Warriors coming down on the Harleys. Yep. Even though this is right before Hawk left. I don't know if you know. Right after SummerSlam '92, remember Hawk had left.
He was gone, yeah. He was left right after.
And Brett against Davey. No one know what happened in between.
All I know is
Taker coming out in the hearse though for the match against Kamala was sick.
But do you see that a lot though? You didn't really show that.
No, they don't.
One of the things that I would think is like when talking about history of WWF, they couldn't have been more fortunate ever to have had SummerSlam booked in England in 1992. Because the one place WWF probably would not have wanted to be in 1992 was anywhere stateside because that was peak steroid scandal.
Yep.
I don't know if they would have even drawn. I don't know how well they would have even drawn SummerSlam if they were stateside, unless they would have.
They would have had to do a Mania 7, but they would have had to change.
They would have had to change venues. They would have because they couldn't fill the Coliseum.
All I know is that is the best timed European tour in the history of WWF, right there.
Without question.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's like 80% luck.
Which, by the way, just to let people know, it wasn't 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3. It's really more like 71,072.
But they did a crowd scan. No,
but we were 81,000 all in, so that means we have more than people in man.
Makes me sad as the Pontiac Silverdome no longer exists. The WrestleMania arena is gone. That makes me sad.
They should have bought that place.
Segue. Now I'm sorry, Omaha. As far as Audible. Good point, DK. Think about how many great wrestling venues. And I'm gonna say wrestling venues. Just how many great historical venues that wrestling in general. All the WCW, WWF, all the
Sportatorium
right.
comes to mind every time.
Sportatorium,
Did they finally tear it
the
down?
Omni.
Johnny
Yeah,
Lawler.
Paul
Johnny-
Bearer actually wrote an article. I could find it for you later on, like tomorrow or something. Paul Bearer wrote an article, a tribute in the Sportatorium after it was torn down. And you can, and it's all over you can find it all sorts of different message boards because he wrote about what it meant to him because he was there as both as a fan and as a performer.
Because I remember where I was working a show talking to Jerry Lawler. And this is when I learned the term mothball. I remember Jerry Lawler telling me about 10 years ago, it was like, they just letting them mothball. And I said, what's mothball? He said, basically means it sits. You're not going to do any work to it, and you're not going to destroy it. So it just sat there, just rotting for years. Then
at some point, it just goes away, unfortunately.
Pontiac Silverdome was gone. The Reliant Astrodome is gone. Baseball fans.
The Omni's still around?
No, they knocked that down.
They knocked it down.
Shit. They're just they're all like other than MSG, like most of them are just gone.
Palace of Auburn Hills, which I love that name. Is that still?
No, they knocked that down.
And now all the arenas are like owned by like banks or something.
What about they don't have Spectrum's gone too.
Philly?
Yep.
Philly and isn't it two Spectrums? Philly and was it New York Spectrum too? Wasn't it two? It was Philly Spectrum and
Philly had the Spectrum, New York had the Garden.
I remember the brief existence.
Jersey had the Meadowlands.
Meadowlands,
which I think is the Izod Center now, if I'm not mistaken. Center.
Okay.
Izod is such a horrible name.
It is pretty bad.
It's bad. I don't care if you're talking about
European
the stadium. It doesn't sound either way. It doesn't sound good either way.
Yeah, a lot of these venues now are they're nameless and faceless because they're just all generic.
And Bank of America
don't have the same character.
It's just offensive because it's Bank of America.
That is Bank of America.
Stop talking shit about Bank of America. They're going to put a $35 fee on all of us. I'm not an account with them. Doesn't matter. They're still going to put a $35 fee on you.
That's even like with like baseball, which I think great things about baseball is how
is Fenway still around?
Yeah, Fenway's still around.
Fenway's not going anywhere. Fenway's historic.
There's a bunch of them that are gone.
Camden Yards is also a
historic,
ridiculously great baseball venue.
What about Wrigley?
Wrigley's not going nowhere. Wrigley, Fenway. I mean, I don't know because I was going to say
all of baseball, good 20 years.
I think because you have the iconic Ivy of Wrigley, and the Green Monster, Camden Yards. We have the
warehouse.
Certain items that's iconic, they're never getting away. The Met, the what's the one that got the catcher's mitt? Is that Pittsburgh? One of them got the big
San Francisco, I think.
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco's got the mitt.
Yeah, they're not going to give it.
And they got McCovey Cove, too, so.
Well, I'm glad a few things last.
Now, Camden Yards, every reprint for each stadium after 1992 is based upon Camden Yards. So that's true. When Camden Yards was built here in 92, to this day, since 92, any ballpark that was created since and now was by the reprint of Camden Yards. And that's true. Enough. I mean, I don't know why we haven't had an All-Star game since 94, but I don't know.
I don't know why you guys haven't had the All-Star game. You guys should. You guys should have it like every 5 years.
You forget, there's one big arena that's still around that people don't talk about. One of the biggest events going on this year that we're on a wrestling podcast is one of the biggest events going on this year at Wembley, Taylor Swift.
True. Yeah, the most important event you could for in Wembley this week.
As my buddy, you might as well call them the Kansas City Swifts.
God,
I don't want to say too
hope.
much.
I
There's
hope
a lot of
anybody
things
beats
we
the
can say, but I
Chiefs.
don't want to offend the Swifties.
And you know it's bad when the NFL has their own camera angle and camera motion
God.
for
Take
you.
a Swift camera.
She made him like She made him like $50 million last year.
Yeah, she did.
She earned it. She paid for that camera about many times over.
Like all she did was sit in the box. She never performed a damn song, and she made him $50 million.
She had a red lipstick, the phony ass smile wave, looking like she's about to cry when
she's also dating the biggest douchebag in the NFL.
I did like him until he came against Justin Tucker and some other stuff. I started hearing what he said, and like, here's the thing. Everyone likes Patrick Mahomes. He just do anything. He's like Derek Jeter.
I like Mahomes. I have no issue with.
Everyone likes Jason Kelsey, his brother. Certain quarterbacks like the team, and not everyone likes Lamar Jackson.
I like Jason.
If they ever split apart,
Travis is a fucking douche.
That comes out of that'll be interesting.
It has nothing to do with him dating Taylor Swift either. It's just he's a douche.
It's the stuff he said. He tried to go against Justin Tucker, which was wrong.
Yep.
There's some other stuff that just was controversial.
The Andy Reid shit at the Super Bowl was incredibly disrespectful.
What was the Andy Reid?
He was yelling at him.
Oh yeah.
Like openly on the sideline. It's like, that's.
He was about to assault him, for God's sake.
That's showing class and like leadership. Yelling at your coach, when the whole world's on you.
Because you gotta look at
If
he did that to Belichick, Belichick would have cut his ass.
And that's all
the
I'm
next
gonna say.
day.
Belichick has chewed out Tom Brady. But they had that respect where you would see Brady yell at players, but you never saw Brady yell at Belichick on camera. He might have said some words, but not like how Kelsey did to Reed. Come on, man. That's disrespectful. And certain players that you're going to like them though you don't like the team. Like, I love Palomali, one of the greatest safeties. I hate to say this.
Me too. But I hate
not better than Ed Reed.
No.
And Palomali said it. Anybody listening that want to get mad, Palomali has said it outright. Ed Reed
was
the
better.
GOAT safety.
It's a Pro Wrestling World podcast. People are going to get mad because that's what they do with us.
So
people mad.
Tell them take a nap. Tell them take a nap.
Yeah, like we gotta. It's a podcast that sometimes has to go into the outfield a little bit. And the fact is, as much as the Ravens and I have had our problems because of the Patriots and the Ravens rivalry,
it was amazing though.
It was fun, and I loved the hell out of Ed Reed and Ray Lewis.
Talk about the Ravens versus the New York Giants Super Bowl. The one where I think one of the teams got blasted to death, basically.
Yeah, the Giants got their asses handed to them.
The only thing I remember about
silver
that,
platter.
I have a really weird memory about that Super Bowl. It has nothing to do with the show itself. My cat at the time, Sassy, got trapped in the water heater in the middle of that Super Bowl, and I had to rescue him.
That's funny.
So now if I see highlights of the Super Bowl, are you thinking about your cat getting trapped in the water heater?
I got her out. She was okay, but she was trapped. Had to pry the door open because the damn door on the water heater was jammed.
I think I have an idea what you gonna say, Daniel. Like you just stand for Terrell Suggs.
I don't mind Terrell Suggs. Like there's a lot of guys. The only guy that I never really liked on the Ravens ever was probably Flacco. Because Flacco, like it just
hit in like Flacco.
He had that great playoff run and that was it. Like the rest of his career was just, even though I was rooting for him last year in Cleveland, I'll give him that. Like, because I thought that was a great story. But no, God, that AFC Championship game, the second one, because he went on that run where I remember he beat Indianapolis. No, it was Denver. He beat Denver, then he beat the Patriots, and he went and beat the 49ers.
He beat the Colts first.
Yep.
Ray Lewis saying then. And I will say, the kind of game. We should have won that.
Yeah, you should have.
But it was meant
I wish you did. In retrospect.
Yeah, because y'all lost to the Giants.
Yeah, it's like I would rather lose in the conference championship game than to go to the Super Bowl and lose. So it's like, all right, I'll let you have that one.
Yeah, those rivalries was great. The Ravens and Patriots because Terrell Suggs never acknowledged Brady by name. I don't know if you know
No.
about DK. He always said number 12.
I'm not a big football fan, so
So Terrell Suggs, you know what that is, right? He never mentioned Tom Brady by name. He always would say number 12.
now I know who Tom Brady is.
Now, Tom Brady, because of the respect of Ed Reed, had on his what you call it, the wrist collar. He always had fine 20 all time. So he had to find Ed Reed every play while he was on offense, because that's how much respect they had him. Anywhere to go. So, and by the way, Peyton Manning, he got a big ass forehead, man. Dude, big forehead. And Eli Manning cannot talk worth a damn.
Well, I'd hate to talk. I could talk shit about Eli all the time, but then Eli could just be like,
he's great.
Yeah.
I want to say great. He was good.
He was good. I mean, and he caught us twice. Like I've been blessed as far as championships is concerned in my lifetime, but I will never, ever, ever get over 2007. I will never get over that.
Is that the Tyree catch?
As long as that's the Tyree catch, I will never get over that, because we had a chance to shut up the Miami Dolphins in 72. And it's just the fact, too, that it was 19-0 and winning a championship with Randy Moss, mind you.
Oh, yeah, cool.
That was the one thing that bothered me about it, was the fact that Randy Moss and Tom Brady didn't win a title. Like,
I'm with you. I hope, because the 72 Dolphins are getting on my nerves. So it's not impossible, even though it's hard. I just hope 18 would love it to be my Ravens. It'll be, I pray they the Chiefs, because they already got Mahomes' ass enough. Kills their undefeated record to tie. So we don't see them old ass men sitting there drinking champagne with their apple juice. Sharing, because every year to get close to you top 5 them. And I love the 72 Dolphins, I get it, but after a while, it kind of gets redundant. Just like Triple H taking up all the damn time in matches, like in SummerSlam. That year.
Well, one thing Triple H. Which year of SummerSlam was it where Triple H got Vince to say "I love Cox"? I think that would have been 07.
Oh no, wait, that never happened. Please do not. I rather watch Khali. I rather watch that Khali against the Batista match. Remember that year?
Yeah, that was awful.
Is there anything of Khali's that's actually good? I would say no.
He had a decent match. He had a decent match against Taker on SmackDown. He had an okay match.
Standing match, yeah.
He had an okay match against Big Show. He had that hilarious squash match where he was
great in the longest yard.
It's not a wrestling.
I know. I'm trying to say something nice here.
What's up with match? We didn't give you 2. Oh, and a great squash match he had against Lefty Ray, where he had him in advice. You remember that? His whole hands was covering Ray's face. He barely could see his head.
I do remember that. It looked like it. I tell you what, though, he might suck. He might generally suck in his career, but as far as wrestling video games go, Khali was usually one of the best to play.
Yeah, she couldn't stop him.
Yeah. I had this one whole thing where I had Khali, I had Khali versus each woman, one match at a time, and just everyone. I always make sure to do the finish. He slaps him in the side of the head. Win.
Just like for Fire Pro, y'all play Fire Pro Critical.
He's like, and he does this thing where he has his hand out and he points at it, and then he slaps Mickey James in the head and knocks her ass out.
Do you remember the challenge in those games where you had to beat Khali with
Mickey James?
Was it with Mickey James?
Yeah, you had to beat her with Mickey James. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Like Charles told me it's one of the worst, most pain in the ass challenges he's ever seen in any video game.
I think you couldn't leave the ring either. You had to beat her, and you couldn't leave the ring.
I know what it was. It was Mickey James. You had to be Mickey James to beat Khali, and the one year you had to be Mysterio to beat Undertaker.
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. It might have been like 06, I think.
06, 07.
06, 7.
I heard that the beat the streak thing in one of the video games was a bitch too, because
2K14, yeah,
and he just randomly gets
2K14. Yep. Now, do y'all know about that kind of morbid weird storyline with Taker and Benoit talking about death.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there was
I
two
just
of them
got
in a
that sent to
row.
me.
There was one with Eddie, and then it was one with Eddie where he stole the urn, and then Taker beat him in a buried alive match, and the game came out I think the same week that Eddie died.
Whoopsie
And then
daisy.
the following year was the storyline with Benoit, where he was trying to do some menacing stuff Benoit was trying to do some menacing stuff. And then, of course, we know what happened the following year, the following summer.
Yeah. All I know is sometimes it makes me wonder if it's actually as possible for people to get a feeling of the future without realizing it. Shit like that has always made me question
I
that.
think some people. I think not to mention personal things, but there's some things that in my family just dealt with the past few weeks that just evident where some you just know, some people just know. And it
Yeah.
could be death or it could just be premonitions of something's about to happen. It could be good or bad or
Hey, I had a premonition of being with my wife 3 weeks before we even got together.
wow.
I woke up one morning and that was just in my head. And then 3 weeks later, we started dating. And let's see, what it was 2015. About a year and a half later, we were married. And I had that premonition about that 3 weeks before I'd even physically seen her. I mean, I'd met her before. I knew it because we had a brief date. We briefly dated in 2010. Yeah, I know I'm getting personal life, but still. But we hadn't seen each other in years. I didn't even know she was still in the fucking area. But I had that
Wow.
premonition 3 weeks before. And sure as
It's
shit, there it
amazing.
was.
I've had those over my life regularly. But when it comes to wrestling, definitely it never fails. I remember waking up one morning feeling sick in my stomach, and it was on a Monday. And then
I
Monday
was
night, my friend called me and was like, "What's going on?"
I was I have a weird connection to that too. Um I was in the army and my roommate was Chris Benoit's first cousin, whose name was also Chris Benoit.
Oh, shit.
What?
No, I'm not even shitting. His name was Chris Benoit.
And here's the weird thing, too, with some of what you had, one just crazy out of the currents. Had that feeling. Had college class. Felt sick. I was like, something ain't right. Felt it in my spirit. Felt it in me. Came home, sat down. I didn't have cable at the time, so we used to watch cable at my friend Tim's house, my friend Mario's. And my friend Tim, who never calls, he just always would text or, Xbox Live. Remember that? Used to text on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
When Halo was big, had the Halo parties.
Oh yeah. I remember
And
in the
he
army.
called me, and I'm like, Tim's calling my house phone. Something's wrong. Like, I just felt like either something's wrong or it's like he might need help. He was like, dude, did you hear it? I'm like, hear what? It's like, Chris Noir is dead. So what do you mean he's dead? He was like, him and his family. I was like, huh? Not his froze. He was like, come on down and we see the raw. A week later, think about how weird this is. I'm taking out the trash from my house, and they're doing like these guys are redoing my neighbor's fence. Happen was talking. I don't know how wrestling came up. Something about my show. He says, I'm from Georgia. So okay, cool. I'm not. Well, I got family live in Georgia. He says, you say you want to hear something funny? He said, I'm working one day on a Sunday night. He said, I get a call from my boss, call in. We need you in ASAP. He said, me and people that works, he said, how we rent furniture, help me. The house that he went to that Sunday night, it's Chris Wall's house after they removed the bodies. He said he walked into that mansion. He saw all this police tape. He said he didn't even know who it was. So he saw the newscasters. He said he had an eerie feeling. He said he could not stay in the house. He said because he said this it didn't feel right. Something was off. He said, I'm not even a spiritual person.
Yeah.
He said him and the four guys were the ones that took, stuff out the house, hit the murder scene.
Something bad enough happens in a place, some people believe it leaves an impression on the atmosphere of the area.
Yes.
And I honestly believe it myself that this may be the case. I would not want to visit. That is stuff like that is something that interests me, but I would not want to visit that place just because of that.
And to tie this into SummerSlam, because we'll get back to SummerSlam, guys.
But we
Since
need a
we're
little
talking
happier
about
note.
I had to mention this because this is a debatable topic. I talk about this nauseum to friends, family that are wrestling fans. What are your thoughts with what happened with Benoit and his family? Do you feel he did it? Or do you feel he got set up?
I think. Okay. I shouldn't have done this at the time, but I did a deep dive into Chris Benoit's final year,
I did
and I
too.
noticed a lot of things. Like, okay, there is one situation. I'm careful how I word this. There is a match between him and Chavo in 2006, I believe, on SummerSlam, where the impression that I take away from it is it appears to me that Chris Benoit briefly loses his temper and actually shoots on Chavo. And it looks, and maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it looks to me like the referee and Chavo have to work together to calm him down while preserving the match. I see that. And then months later, he's wrestling MVP, and they're doing an old ring crisscross segment. You know, it's an old classic.
Right.
And Chris Benoit botches and trips, and I believe trips MVP. And I see those two things, and then I see how several matches along that phrase where, to be frank, it really looks like Benoit is just silently crying. I see those three things going on. And then the last match on ECW, where he literally like touches the title, the ECW title, in like this really just bizarre way, like a strange caress. And all these things lead me to believe that his mental state was severely impaired, by brain damage and God knows what else. And at which point, that's led me to believe that the story that we've heard, that concussions and brain damage led him to commit those acts, is the case. Because I see there's too many. Hindsight is 2020. We might not have noticed these things going forward, but there's just too many strange things that I notice, patterns. And the creepiest thing, like I said, is what looks like Benoit silently crying in a ring. Just go watch some of those. Go watch some of the last 5 or 6 pay-per-view matches with Benoit. It really does look like it sometimes.
Yeah, if you can, I'll definitely look into that. I'll look into that, dude. You can send them to me and I'll watch them and see. I do remember then we'll send it to
Watch the
Daniel.
Survivor Series 06 match. That one alone is full of weirdness against Chavo.
Survivor Series, okay.
His opponent is Chavo in that match, and that alone. There's some weirdness just in that match alone.
And I'll mention this too, and then we'll turn over to Daniel, see his thoughts. I remember because the Benoit tragedy was what month?
June.
They did a house show here maybe a month or two before, the SmackDown house show. And I don't remember the main event, the televised main event, but they had the dark match main event. The dark match main event was, I believe Batista was the champ around that time, Martin, am I right? Batista?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was Batista, Benoit, and it was like a 6-man. Batista, Benoit, and someone. I can't remember who it was. Against whoever the hell it was. Could have been JBO or whoever the sheet was. And after the match, see I clap the hands fan,
yeah.
The hands of the fans. Now, I'm sitting one of the rare cases like 3rd level. This is back when they used to let you sit in the 3rd level. Because now at the arena, WWE have the 3rd area guitars. So it's only section 1 and 2. So I'm at the 3rd level, like right at the edge. And for some reason, I swear, my friends could attest to this. And while I looked over right at our section, he always went like this. And I remember putting my hand up to him, and I had this weird feeling. It just felt off. I just was like, why does this feel... I don't know. It just felt like I'll never forget it. Like I could see it, but it just was like It is so weird. I'm not saying, yo, like you
It's
felt
his
it
eyes, I
before.
think.
And yeah, we could see his eyes and his hand. It's just like
It looks like Jack Nicholson at The Shining after he's right when he's getting ready to lose his
right.
mind. It hasn't snapped just yet.
And I thought about that when a couple of months later, when everything went down with his family, the tragedy. I was like, goes to your point, your deep dive, BK of this was going down a slow descent. You go down. What's your thoughts on Benny Y?
Well, I think he did it. It's hard because he was one of my guys from like the midnight. You know, when he was in WCW, I was like,
Oh, he was
yeah,
great. Like, some of
like
his
he was
best stuff,
fantastic.
some of his most entertaining stuff's in WCW.
WCW.
You know, the matches with Kevin Sullivan where he's wrestling up in goddamn bathrooms,
Yeah.
like it's insane.
They wrestled like on pay-per-view like for a whole half a year.
Yeah,
It was great
Yeah,
every
they
it was
time.
did.
great. Every
Oh,
match was
wow.
fantastic, and yeah, he was one of my guys when he beat Triple H at WrestleMania 20. It was
I almost cried.
I was really on the verge. It was
Yeah.
really close, and especially the ending with him and Eddie, which
He cut
look
out.
back on that now, it's how poignant that was. I mean,
Which, by the way, they cut out on the network of Peacock.
I still remember. I still have that WrestleMania on DVD, so I still have that in unedited
Celebration.
form. But well, it's not the thing about it is I haven't watched that match in almost 20 years because the last time I think I watched that match was the night they did the tribute, which
Yeah, they played that match, didn't they?
Played the match. Yeah.
that match that was still probably the most surreal night in the industry because you're watching this tribute to this guy, and by that point, by the time you're watching that, you're online and you're looking.
And it
Oh
comes
shit!
out.
They think you may have done it.
No, yeah, I know.
Do you real quick? Do you still have? Because I have it. Do you have the actual Raw? Because you know WWE erased. Do you
I
have
have the
their
what?
Raw? Do you have their?
No, I don't have
the
I don't
Benoit
have that
tribute.
copy. No.
Yeah, I do.
I'm pretty sure Pirate Hunters probably got it somewhere.
No, I'm sure they do. I
Oh,
just
Jesus.
yeah.
Because they'll never
about all
show
the-
that again.
They never. I think it's. I think there was supposed to be another Benoit documentary in the works, and I think that we saw. That obviously that never actually happened. It never happened, but I think there was a few clips from that actually made it into the tribute. I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
I saw it though because I was in the army watching that shit.
man.
By the way, like I said, my roommate, we had talked about a lot. We had talked a lot about wrestling, because the connections,
Right.
Right.
I knew him for another. Let's see, this happened in 2007, and I knew him until about mid 2009 when we left Iraq and he went to a different duty station. He never ever again ever spoke about wrestling ever again. It was
Wow.
just a subject that that he just never wanted to speak on wrestling. It was done. It was just not a topic anymore. Before that, he talked about meeting the Undertaker. He talked about Benoit. He talked about all the Four Horsemen. He talked about Flair. He talked about all those people. But after that was it. It was a dead topic. It was just not something he was talking about.
Man.
Except he did say this one thing, and that he also said that Benoit did it.
Wow,
That
his
is
own
the one
family.
thing that he said is the exception.
I did a dive of myself to, as I said, my buddy Gene called Biggie. I was sent him and one of my insiders, who I will never mention on camera, where I get a lot of my insight from. Send me a video on YouTube of the actual voicemail for Benoit when he was calling.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff that just talking to the boys and stuff said he was picked up on. And I start getting the impression of, I think he killed Nancy, killed Daniel, but it did sound like somebody else.
What was that last part?
It sounded like somebody else was in the house where Nancy and Daniel, someone killed him. He even mentioned about the way the neck. Say he hung himself with the cord.
Yeah, the workout cord on one of the devices.
And I did hear some things about how if it was him hanging himself, it would have been certain marks shown, and it just didn't match up all the way. Maybe some actually strangled him. So I don't know. But if you hear those voicemails, you can kind of distinctly hear someone in the back and hear footsteps. And it wasn't Benoit. You know, you got the text messages that Chavo said that he sent the dogs out. One thing's for sure, he dealt with CTE, and he was dealing with
weirdest thing about that, and my weirdest thing about the whole situation is the Wikipedia edit. There's a whole article on Wikipedia about the Wikipedia edit, about how
really.
You don't know what the Wikipedia edit is?
No, I never heard about the edit.
Before it was ever announced anywhere that Benoit had died, Wikipedia, and what was alleged at the time to have been a troll edit, announced that Chris Benoit and his family and Nancy and his son were dead, and this happened like hours before the news actually broke. Wikipedia deleted it because it was an obvious what do they call them? Troll edits, vandalism edit. But they archived it, and in the Chris Benoit section, there is now about the Chris Benoit murder-suicide. There is a section about the Wikipedia edit where where I believe that they actually show the original text, and then they add the context of what was said and how that wasn't and how there was no how it was believed to be vandalism. God knows it's late. I'm having a hard time with my words. But there's this whole section in Wikipedia talking about that edit and how it came out hours before any news had been broken. And some have even suspected it might have even been before the murder itself had even occurred. Some of the more conspiracy theorist side. But anyway, that edit exists, and it's strange. But
it was a very strange coincidence. I remember hearing about that when that happened, and it was just. And I read the article about it as well, and it's very weird because it's like, how do they know that? Do they trace the IP address? Like maybe to kind of
trace the IP address, but they didn't. But it dead ended. I checked that. I looked into that. The IP address dead ended. It didn't land anybody relevant.
Wow, that's weird.
That is fucked up.
And that's something that you'll never be able to see any of the crime photos, any of the police reports. And
yeah, that's
but one thing's for sure, Tony Khan. There actually was a police report found on this. Unlike when you lied and said there wasn't one they brought out. We'll leave that alone. Because no police report was filed for brawlouts.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't want to see 200,000 people just disappear from the ratings just like that. It was right after they aired that footage last.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
It's like, hey, we're gonna show you the footage. They got like a $300,000. They got like a $200,000 ratings pop, and then they lost 300,000 like after that, and they never got them back.
The highest ratings that the Young Bucks and Jacques Perry have ever been involved in was that segment.
And now they're like, I don't want to laugh because I don't want wrestling. I don't want AEW to die because I think it's important that they exist.
I don't think they will.
It's still funny.
They're probably getting a renewal. So
I never seen anybody shoot themselves in the. I have an uncle that shot himself in the foot by accident and managed to get out of Vietnam. And I swear to God that even he didn't shoot himself in the foot as hard as AEW did on that day.
Well, they've done it like 900 times. That's a problem.
That way, I know, but if you're gonna make a list of top 5 shooting yourselves in the foot, that is got to be either 1 or 2.
Like how he's shooting himself in the foot now with this Ray versus title match with Daniel Bryan and my man Swerve. Shout out to Swerve, known him for years. Definitely proud of him. But
I love how he's just come out of nowhere and become a star.
I saw it in WWE.
Swerve, I saw it before that. I know him for about 10 years.
I meant in terms of booking, though.
Now I saw it in WWE though. Like Daniel said, it's just he had to go away to. He wasn't how he is now. He would have never been able.
Well, I bet WWE wish they hadn't let him go now. Well,
that was a Vince decision.
Yeah, well, he's
that was when he took over NXT. if Triple H and Shawn Michaels had their way, he wouldn't have left. Show wouldn't have Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Adam Cole probably wishes he didn't jump over. Let's be fair. Let's be honest.
Man, he was getting hot. That sucked so hard. He was getting so hot with that MJF angle, and then he went and injured himself the same way Punk injured himself.
Yep.
Stupid damn ramp.
Here's the thing, with Punk, is he just competed in SummerSlam. Will Punky be able to stay healthy until the Rumble? Just think about it. Punk has been hurt 3 times within the past 2 years.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that he doesn't have too many more injuries left before someone's going to say, you just do commentary or something.
Or maybe put him on a legit reduced schedule.
A Brock Lesnar run.
Yeah, like a Lesnar run.
Kind of is on, actually.
Which, I mean, he doesn't need to wrestle every week. I mean, he's at the point where he doesn't have to.
No.
But
that's
save him
for
pay-per-views.
Him in AEW was his match against MJF, though. The collar match. That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was. And the whole feud and that back and forth and their promos. Now, since WWE will never mention this, the only time Morton wore those ugly baby pink tights, he defeated Benoit 04. What was your thoughts of that match?
I heard Benoit 04. I didn't catch it all.
Thoughts on the match with him against Orton 04?
Oh, I thought it was a solid match. I think Benoit did a lot because Benoit at that point is still probably in a really good state. I think Benoit did a lot to try to get Randy Orton over. And by Randy Orton's own admission, all the work that Benoit put into it, Randy Orton sort of pissed on by being an idiot backstage within weeks later, and he had to lose that title.
Yeah.
But it was solid, and the celebration was really nice. They did a little bit of a Bret Hart thing where everybody came out and celebrated with him, if I recall correctly. Isn't that right?
They did. I think they hoisted him up like the leader.
Yeah. And it was like, and then, yeah. Honestly, though, even if he hadn't screwed up backstage, I don't think Orton, that babyface Orton, would have actually.
It didn't work.
He didn't have a lot of. I don't think he had a lot of legs.
Wait, did they hoist him up? Like they did.
That was the next night.
That was the next night.
That was the next night, and that was the night that they turned on him.
Oh yeah, that is easily one of the greatest betrayals in wrestling history, right there.
Speaking of betrayal, let's do Omaha real quick. Besides that, starting with Daniel and UDK, give me your top 3 betrayals or heel turns of all time. Matter promotion,
all time.
Territory.
Or are we talking so all time and not just talking SummerSlam? Okay.
No, all time. There's a couple of good ones at SummerSlam, but
3, I would have to. This is a real deep cut, but it would probably be Ole Anderson when he turned against Dusty in 82 or 83, I believe.
Deep cut.
It's a deep cut, but he's the way he suckered him in was fantastic because he was a face for a few years, and of course but him and Dusty were feuding for years before then, and then finally, so Dusty made a promo one time and said, "It'll never be over, and it'll be over." Ole turned babyface, and then finally a couple of years in, and then Dusty finally was like, "Look, I need you to be my partner against these guys." And he's just like, "Sure." So they get to that match, and Ole just fucks him over immediately and almost causes a riot in the Omni. And then he goes out in this promo the next week, probably one of the best heel promos I've ever seen, when Ole just says, he's just like, "Remember you said at Rhodes, it'll never be over. And you're right. It'll never be over." So that was a deep cut. I got to go with the third for that one. Second.
That's a good one.
Second is Shawn against Marty.
Yeah.
Even though Marty threw himself through the window in an act of cowardice, Shawn still super kicked him. But Marty ran away in cowardice, so he threw himself out the window. And number one is defiantly easy just because of the fact that it's 2024 and we're still buying NWO shirts. The Hogan turn, nothing's better. Nothing will ever be better than that Hogan turn because it was absolutely, number one, it was out of nowhere. And because no one really expected it. No one ever thought that Hogan was going to go black, like the black and white and that whole situation again.
What side is he on?
Whose side is he on? And people shit on Heenan for that, but Heenan was only doing what he built his career on, and that was shitting on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
questioning his loyalty. He was doing the same thing he was doing his whole career. He stayed consistent. And he was also able to be like, finally, hey, I told you he was no good. Like,
he literally said those exact words at one point in that early part of that mid part of '96.
What I tell you for all these years, he's but the Hogan turn has raised so much business because how many years now has NWO shirts and NWO merchandise been still top 10 in WWE?
It's been top 5 in stretches at times too.
2019, I think it was top 5.
Well, that was a bad year.
Yes, but it was still top 5.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with 3 that he didn't pick because those are really good ones. And I'm gonna do one. I think AEW. I'm gonna give AEW a mention, even though I don't know if it'd be a greatest of all time, but they have one that deserves a mention, at least in the confines of their own company's history, and that's the night MJF kicked Cody Rhodes in the balls at Full Gear.
Oh, that was a good one, yeah.
Oh man, that was
pretty
a
much
good one.
made MJF's career as a heel. I mean, in the AEW world, that is absolute. Some of the best storytelling AEW has ever done. We did a whole show on Full Gear recently, and I absolutely loved that show, in particular that main event match with Jericho and Cody Rhodes. But that betrayal is just, it's almost like wrestling Godfather for a few minutes. That's probably the best that AEW has ever had. Like I said, let's see. I'm gonna go with an unorthodox one that nobody talks about. We'll call it underrated. We'll say since Dan mentioned the goats, I'll go with an underrated one. There is one moment where Vince McMahon is trying to get good old JR to kiss his ass.
Oh yeah,
and out comes the Undertaker, and he's coming out with a big babyface pop, and then Taker's like, "Do you think you're better than me?" and shoves JR. He shoves JR's ass into Vince, or JR's face into Vince's ass.
That's late. I understand.
Yeah. And then there's one that's really great because, well, honorable mention, just one sentence: Triple H failing to reform DX with Shawn in 2002. But one that I really want to talk about that is really important that doesn't get the mention that it should is Owen Hart betraying Bret Hart at the Survivor Series before in late '93.
When he kicked his leg out of his leg.
His leg out of his leg. The promo might have not been the best. My God, it literally set up the Owen and Bret story. Literally is that goes all the way until Bret gets screwed at Montreal almost. Literally starts right there where he kicks his leg out of his leg at Survivor Series.
It was actually Rumble 94. 93 Survivor Series is when they started to plant the seeds for it.
Yes, you're right. It was Rumble 94. See, it is very late, and I'm getting I can tell that my brain is not popping like it normally does.
Well, guess what? I'm an hour ahead of you guys.
No, you're not. I'm in Boston.
Boston.
So,
that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
So we're both at 1 o'clock. So we're both like,
I will say this though, before I want on the Owen tangent. I remember that after Bret had turned heel, he reunited with his baby brother, and they all hugged in the ring. And the moment that everyone thought should be massively cheered was massively booed instead.
I know.
That is just, I love that whole thing. I love that they pulled that off.
Fake crying too was hilarious.
I love that they pulled that off with a heel's reaction instead of what everyone would have expected. That's
Brett's
brilliant.
hugging his brother and trying not to die laughing at the same time because I'm sure Owen is just doing some ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
Like Brett's just like,
I have those are good ones. Honorable mention for me is when Batista turned heel on Ray.
That was good. That was good.
And it was so
in the
scary
back of my
because
brain somewhere.
Batista is big as
Supposed to be
shit.
my friend.
And it's like, and he's grabbing Ray. What was he saying? I'm serious. What he keep saying? He was like, I'm
gonna
serious.
tear your head off.
I'm gonna tear your head off.
Yeah.
He says it, you believe him. That's
And
what's
we're
scary.
sitting here, and it's like, Ray, you're about to die, literally. It was like a little kid talking to you. And if you watch how, of course, Batista was so safe with Ray. He was beating the shit out of him, but he was still safe with him. Unlike when Big Show did say this, he apologized, and Ray did say this. So remember when Big Show threw Ray on the stretcher?
Yeah, the bat. Yeah, I remember.
And Ray said that was
he
stiff.
just dropped him.
Big Show apologized for it. But okay, so 3, I'm gonna go a different route. 3 best heel turn. I'm gonna say Andre to Hogan.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah, that's a real
I actually
good
feel
one.
bad not thinking of it. That's how good that is.
Because a lot of people forget.
He across and he accidentally opened up Hogan's chest a little
Cut
bit.
him, right?
Bleeding, man.
And people forget that. We all know Andre Hogan Mania 3, Saturday Night's Main Event, or the whole say DiBiase.
He made a shitload of money. Think about it.
That heel turn when that pipe was pet, and there's Andre, literally with Heenan. Come on now, he tears the
Probably
chain.
the greatest episode of that show.
Yeah, so that's 3. 2, I was going to say the Omni Riot with Oli turning on Dusty, but since you did, I'm going to say Paul Bear trading on the Undertaker. The Boiler Room Brawl.
Oh yeah, that was out of nowhere.
No one saw that coming.
No, there was no hint of it at all.
And right when Paul Bear had the urn, he held it up and said no and hit him in the head. Like, no, because that's when we got damn you to hell. We got but no one saw that coming. It was no little bits and no little teases. Just oh yes, Undertaker, and then in one. I mean, the GOAT. I'm sorry, one has to be Bash at the Beach in '96. Hogan. I mean, the outsiders against Sting, Luger, and Savage cannot put. You just can't. It's like
you can't be replicated again.
Lightning
has been caught. You can't do it.
It's the lightning in the bottle moment in wrestling history.
There's no better wide receiver than Jerry Rice. That kind of thing. You can't. I mean, you can do third baseman talk. Who's the best third baseman of all time? You're gonna see either Brooks Robinson or was it Robin Yount? Am I saying it right?
You got Brooks Robinson and there's Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike Schmidt. So greatest third baseman, Brooks Robinson or Mike Schmidt. Wide receiver, Jerry Rice. Greatest heel turn, Hogan. I remember, I have it's the difference. You have the on-air edit. You have the broadcast version. You have the VHS version. You have now the edit. I have the broadcast version. Broadcast version actually showed, people don't know, it was 2 fans who tried to jump the ring.
Yep.
One tried to jump. Remember that? You see security running to the right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the second fan shows the full beatdown. That's the on-air edit. The VHS edit, you only see a clip of the fan quick. They cut away. And then the edit was. Story with that. Just how old this is. 96. I didn't have cable. So I only saw people using to a friend's house. So I come home from school. My mother calls me from her desk. My grandfather's house. So I'm like, hey, Ma, she Russell fan. She says, hey, Slim, guess what? So what's wrong? She said, Hulk Hogan was a bad guy. I said, what? I said, nah. She said, she mom started laughing. She said, yes. She said her friend, Mr. Chuck, still around, told her. Mr. Chuck listened to the pay-per-view on radio. Back in the day, you could do that. And he heard it. He didn't watch it until mother brought me the VHS tape of Bash at the Beach, and I gave it to him to watch. This is surreal, and I just got finished watching it not long ago. The surrealness of that pay-per-view. Hogan turning, Shivani, you can go to hell, and that was a thing. Hell.
Yeah.
Hogan wearing black.
There was no other scenario that I saw that, like, him walking down that ramp. I'm like, he's gonna save the day as usual. Like, you just knew it.
The Hogan thing.
Like, and then he tore his shirt off, and then all of a sudden it's just like, what? Like, your jaw just literally hits the floor of, like,
it would literally be like,
oh no.
It would literally be like Superman just killing Lois Lane and saying, fuck you and fuck Metropolis. If you get in my way, I'm gonna fucking kill you. That's about the only way you could like replicate. That's like what it would be by comparison.
And did you notice that sounded at third leg job? They woof. You ever notice that? Like that?
Oh yeah.
Where the crowd said it with Hogan.
It's a shift if you ever heard one.
And if you notice,
loud.
The small thing is
angry boos. Like these weren't just simply boos of a heel. These were angry. These were
people was crying.
These people would have hurt Hogan if they could get close enough.
That's how people start throwing trash in the ring.
Yeah.
Did you ever see trash being thrown in the ring before?
No. That was the first.
NWA stuff.
Yeah, NWA stuff and
early NWA, like peak, like early '80s. Other than that, no.
And then notice they threw the Easter egg in. People forget this. Liger got knocked out.
I do remember.
Yeah, he did. He got knocked out early.
I do remember the Bride in the second Saturday Night's main event getting almost knocked out by a Whiskey Tune, but that's a different scenario.
Hold on, what happened?
Oh, the second ever Saturday Night's main event, Hillbilly Jim was actually real life marrying his girlfriend because they were in a state where fake weddings were not allowed, which is weird.
Actually, it was Uncle Elmer.
Uncle Elmer. See, It's very late. Hey, Uncle Elmer. He was marrying her, and Bobby and Jesse Ventura said the line of that they look like two fish going out over a piece of corn in the Mississippi. And somewhere in the middle of that, they got a close up on her face, and a metal, I believe it was
a battery.
Whiskey Tune just nailed her right in the fucking.
Oh, I gotta see this.
I think it was a battery. Yeah,
I gotta see this.
And her eyes after that look like she just wants to cry because it hurts so bad. And Elmer's looking at her like, oh fuck. He's just like, oh. He wants to.
I think Ventura said he saw that and he said, I think it's a sign from the heavens.
He did. He did say that. It was a sign from the heavens.
I'm like, oh God, he's so good.
Yeah, Speedy being knocked out. I remember.
They said she had Pritchard said she had was it Pritchard? I think it was Pritchard. One of them said he had a concussion. No, Ventura did. Ventura was on Rosenberg when he was talking about it, and he said that she actually had a concussion out of that.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Did you do you guys remember? I don't think anyone has got knocked out at SummerSlam.
Angle in 2000.
What?
Oh yeah, 2000.
He got knocked out.
Angle and Triple H, were they wrestling at SummerSlam for that one?
It was a triple threat match with Rock. It was Rock, Angle, and
Triple H.
Sensitivity of the times. He was back a few days later selling his concussion as part of an Angle, saying, "I can get another concussion and it could be really bad."
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what lines he used anymore.
Yeah. And speaking of that, that was the only thing about SummerSlam 2000 is known for was it the ladder match?
Yeah, it was a ladder match. The first ladder match.
First ladder match or
TLC match actually.
Was it TLC?
Yeah, it was the first TLC match. Yeah.
The ladder match, I think, was in No Mercy.
Yes, No Mercy 99.
I think they just called. I don't think they called it.
It was the Terry Invitational. I think in '99.
The tit match. No, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, they might have called. Yeah, the Terry Invitational tournament.
Yes.
That's what it was. Yes.
That was '99. Yeah.
I bet. Dustin Rhodes was just loving that. He's already out of the company by this point. He must have been having a blast hearing about the tit match.
So,
It's,
oh, go
good.
ahead. Sorry.
I was saying that's the only thing about 2000 you remember is the ladder match TLC.
Yeah, they had, okay, I remember now. They had a triangle match at WrestleMania at 2000. It was pretty much a TLC match, but they didn't call it that. And then SummerSlam, they actually called it TLC. And then at WrestleMania 17, they had TLC 2.
Yep.
Yes, and TLC 3 was on Raw.
Something like, yeah, but it's TLC 3 and it's on Raw, so.
And then TLC 4 was on SmackDown.
And then at some point they just stopped numbering them, and now we have TLC matches.
Well, just give it a pay-per-view.
and you know that the hypocrisy is hilarious because everybody was like, "Oh, let's give it a pay-per-view." TLC, Hell in a Cell. Oh.
That was when Stephanie got in control of the naming of things. Fatal 4-Way.
But yet, with TNA, when TNA did it with Lockdown, people ain't like it.
That's a good fucking name, though. Lockdown is a great pay-per-view name. But
TNA
I'll tell
has
you what,
good names.
dumbasses did fucking Lockdown, and the Alamo Dome only drew 7,000 people, and they wonder why they had money problems that year.
Right.
Is that the one when they had that weird? Was that an asylum? That it was just all over the cage.
All I remember is Jeff Hardy versus Bubba Ray Dudley, and I'm pissed as fuck because I was in Austin Aries at the time, and he just got like 86th out of anything important. So
7,000 people
at the Alamo Dome. They booked a massive arena thinking they could draw 40,000 or something, and they drew a record attendance a record for TNA attendance 7,000 people, which means they lost money on that show.
And how much of that? How many of those were comps?
Huh?
How many of those were comps?
God only knows. But
Yeah,
I do know a few people
half.
who were in. I do know a few. We've had a few people on our team that were from Texas, and they told me that a lot of them didn't know that TNA had a show in Dallas until it was over because TNA didn't promote the fucking thing.
All right,
that's what Hogan and Bischoff said too. After they left TNA, is that TNA didn't promote, and that was why they had their problem.
They didn't. You had Ultimate Fighter, all these shows. You ain't got no crossover promotion with any of your world champions, any champion.
I don't even think they put out newspaper ads in the fucking towns they went when they went on tour.
But you know what? Get this. If you guys have Pluto TV, you have that?
Yes.
I don't.
They have a TNA channel, and they promote TNA better than they did back then.
I know.
It's literally a TNA
figured
channel.
It out now.
But it's not TNA, it's Pluto.
Yeah.
Are they promoting it better than AEW promotes itself?
You mean like latest press releases and all? And
AEW came to Springfield, my hometown, and I found out about it a week after it was over. but I knew that WWE was coming 2 months in advance of when they actually got here, and the only reason I didn't get to go is because both my cars were fucking broke when the show arrived.
When our arena, the Baltimore Arena, got remade and had the grand opening 2 years ago, the first ever wrestling show was AEW Dynamite. They actually promoted that well here. We'll say that. Because Raw came here right after SummerSlam. That was here in Baltimore. So AEW did promote. I don't know if that was AEW, that was the marketing.
I think they just let things slide. That they were doing well in the beginning.
Here's the thing. Right after Dynamite, everybody left. No one stayed for
Collision, Ring of Honor, Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage.
Yeah, why would you?
Last thing for tonight, very quickly.
Yeah.
Since it's the ending, best SummerSlam endings.
Best SummerSlam what?
Endings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Like the end of the show.
Okay. There's. I want to go with something modern just because we haven't touched modern. But I would either go with one of two options: either the Randy Savage wedding with Liz, or Roman Reigns standing tall over Brock Lesnar. And that's only because I want to get a little love for the modern. I actually don't think that that's the best ending. That's just the best modern ending.
Reigns over Lesnar. You talking about when he fought for the
when they lifted the arena with the forklift.
Yeah.
Oh, when Brock did it, that was
that was fucking great. I mean, that's the best modern. It's definitely not the best of all time, but I just felt like we didn't really cover, I didn't give a lot of love to the modern, so I just kind of wanted to mention that offhand. Um, Honestly, Taker versus Taker is not that great of a match, but him being Taker at the end is actually nice as an ending. That's a nice feel good ending. I guess it's
Those are good ones. I was thinking about the attractive one. The early feeling after '96 when Sean hit Taker and you see Brett and the way Sean was looking like
97.
'97.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, yeah, that's probably the actual best one, best SummerSlam ending right there.
It just was the aftermath of like
They pretty much sold 4 different shows off of one finish.
Ground Zero, which no one talks about, which was another good Taker Shawn match, which no one talks about.
That was a good one.
This has been Taker did the leap over the what's the playing to death on a highlight.
One of the Raws leading up to that, Shawn Michaels playing the coward, he climbs the Titantron to escape the Undertaker.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Speaking of random moments, do anybody remember when Shawn Michaels see him kick the shit out of Austin with the cowboy boot, the Mania 14?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the best.
The thing I remember most about WrestleMania 14 is Mike Tyson punching Shawn Michaels.
And calling him Cold Stone.
Yeah.
Doing the
Cold Stone Steve Austin.
In one of the Royal Rumbles, I think 97, Mike Tyson actually calls on Mike and being interviewed. He said, Shawn Michaels is an up-and-coming honky tiger.
It's Tyson. What you gonna say to him?
Nothing. Yeah. I'd say the fucking thing. I'm not correcting him or nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm okay with it. It was like that one guy decided to mess with Mike Tyson on an airplane, and that was the dumbest person on earth. And Mike Tyson, the only reason he's still alive is because Mike Tyson only punched him a couple times and decided not to kill him.
I will see Undertaker. I saw the Undertaker plushie. That's classic. I saw that Daniel with the Undertaker plushie.
Yeah.
I got a Hogan one too.
Are those the original ones or those like the new?
No, these are the ones that Bleacher Creatures came out with.
There is one ending of SummerSlam that should not be ignored. I forgot all about it. Thanks. Miss Elizabeth having her skirt ripped off.
88.
Say it again.
88. The Mega Powers explode. Yep. Miss Elizabeth having her skirt ripped off to distract DiBiase and Andre. And even the referee Ventura for a minute. That's like the classic. That is like the 80s definitive. That is like the pay-per-view ending of the 80s right there.
That was a big thing back then. And that's the thing. I mean, not that Elizabeth really had a body, but still her being like the queen of WWE wrestling.
Like the ultimate distraction.
Yeah, I mean, Paul's endings, you're right.
I think that invented the female distraction finish in wrestling, actually. I think that is actually probably the first big one.
That was. I mean, of course, Taker and Edge to end it with the Hell in a Cell.
Oh yeah.
What about his one? What about when Orton traded on
2013
Daniel Bryan? That was
that was a good one.
Daniel Bryan beat Cena.
I watched that live. Or live on the Power of Piracy.
Was that? Is that when he jumped with the Authority, Orton, or was that?
That was.
Yeah, I think that was when kind of the inception of the Authority.
Yeah,
Trips hit him with the pedigree, and then
Triple H's expression changed when Daniel Bryan wins. He's all happy. When Orton wins, he's all serious, like I just fucked you, and I love it. Orton's very good with, or Triple H is very good with facials.
Very good.
What about? We didn't even mention this. Captain Full Kids against Roman.
Well, we had to go on a big tangent about football, so that's why we missed it.
Shut up.
Wait, do you have a team? Are you a Cowboy? Are you a Cowboys fan?
I haven't followed NFL in a long, long time, but back in the day, I used to be into the St. Louis Rams, but they no longer exist. As soon as they got moved from St. Louis, they just don't exist. There is no more St. Louis Rams. Whoa, the LA Rams. What's that? I don't know. I don't recognize their.
I beat him twice.
I know.
I beat him.
That looks like Nicolas Cage.
No, it's not. It's
fat.
It's,
You heard Brady give my man Lamar his flowers and.
Well, he should. I mean, he should. I mean, Lamar is excellent.
Oh shit!
I hope they win a Super Bowl.
He will. He'll win at least 2. Then we'll hit a new debate and a new rivalry between Lamar.
What was that? That was that SummerSlam finish you were talking about before I mentioned NFL again. You were
Captain 4Ks against Reigns. Cena against Reigns, and then at the end, Brock came back.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. 2021.
Yeah, that was the whole crap. CM Punk showed up in AEW. Let's do something real quick.
That was that answer, right?
Yeah, literally, that was. I remember there was a Facebook status I had. I'm like, Punk returns. That Vince literally texts him at like 10 o'clock. Hey, can you come for SummerSlam? How much?
Hey, Becky, you too.
What do y'all think about that? Because I feel like that took the wind out of the sails of the whole. I remember when that happened, right when it begun, the whole crowd was like, "WTF?" Then it just was like kind of.
Talk about Lesnar, or we talk about Becky on this one.
Becky in the beginning, wasn't it the same card?
Yeah, that was the same night. Yeah,
I think that even though Becky's obviously clearly a legend, the way they did that just it hurt Becky.
Yeah,
I think it did.
Hurt Becky.
And I don't think she ever completely recovered. Even though her match at WrestleMania against Bianca was, let's see, what year was that? I guess that was, let's see. If she came back 2021, so it must be 2022. I think that actually was like number 2 or number 3 on my match of the year choice for WWE. Bianca versus Becky.
Was it Mania that year, or was it the SummerSlam match?
No, I'm not going to get match of the year to the SummerSlam match with Becky and.
Well, there was 2 of them. That's why.
Oh, you're right. Because. Yeah, because
21 and then 22.
She injured her fucking shoulder at the end, and then Bayley came back.
Yep.
And then Triple H tweeted out literally, "We're just getting started." And then little did we know that other than Brock lifting the ring, that was pretty much all we got. Oh, we had Jeff Jarrett come out and come out in a referee attire at some point in that show, and then that was pretty much. Little did we know that was pretty much the last we'd see of Jeff Jarrett in WWF.
Yeah, because they would bring back Road Dogg to be in his spot,
which I thought was a bad call. Honestly, I'm not even. What was that Vince said? GONE, gone.
Is it because that's wasn't that when Road Dogg got fired and he got rehired
once Vince was gone? Yeah, they hired Road Dogg and they fired Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, but then Road Dogg, like one of the reasons why, in my opinion, one of the reasons why FTR is still with AEW is because when FTR
they can fucking stay there.
Yeah, well, fair enough. When FTR was negotiating, trying to come into WWE, Road Dogg was getting on his podcast, shitting all over Dax Harwood, and I was like, yeah, that probably is one reason why they stayed in AEW, because Triple H's number 2 is shitting on him on podcast and not apologizing.
From what I got, it was the reverse of FTR was going to come back with Trips being in charge.
But then Vince showed up too.
Vince showed up and decided to stay.
But I don't think the Road Dogg thing helped. That's my argument.
I forgot Road Dogg had a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still does, but
now the Treatwell Pritchard still got he's an exec, so he does what he wants.
Well, I would almost call it a part-time podcast because he doesn't even there's a lot of times
a lot of best ofs now.
Yeah, especially for schedule now, I'm sure, with everything. The true question is, what's the real reason why Dak said abruptly, air quote, get rid of his politics?
The reason I don't remember what he said, but if I was to guess the reason, it was probably because he kept pissing off the Young Bucks and creating political heat for them.
Mm.
Which they do, Russell. don't want you to forget DK to ever pick the view.
The Young Bucks are good at that.
Yeah, the best Young Bucks FDR match is number 2, the one that actually happened on TV. The one that happened on All In was good, but not as good as that.
Their tag team division has taken such a hit
Horrible.
as of late because
What
they
does it have?
2 or 3 years ago they had probably, even when they were incepted, they had one of the best tag team divisions in all of wrestling.
They had main event tag teams. Like
Now it's
never existed in wrestling.
awful.
Now it's just not,
The Lucha Bros in WWE.
which is fucking crazy. It's actually I call that a red flag for what's going on in AEW if Lucha's going to WWE.
I mean, does it matter though? Because they're going to get a renewal.
No, the Lucha Bros are gone.
I'm sorry, but if it, I think it.
No,
does
I'm talking about like them for TV rights.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about them for TV ratings. Okay, it's like this. Okay, if it's 1999 and Undertaker had left WWE to go to WCW, or 1988, that's a flagpole. That's like somebody
that is, yeah.
Is definitely on Team WWF, and if he jumped to the other side, it's a warning sign. And in my opinion, while the Lucha Bros are clearly not on the same level as the Undertaker in terms of being legends in the business, they are still what
Cody should have been a warning side.
Oh, he was a warning sign. Them leaving AEW for WWE, I see as red flags for the company, because I see it as their tentpole wrestlers that you think are going to be lifers are not wanting to stay. At this point, you start to ask yourself, in 5 years, are the only wrestlers that we know by name going to be Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, and is Omega going to be gone because he's hurt? That's the question.
Omega seems unhappy too.
No, he is.
He does.
Omega isn't happy. He isn't happy.
I don't think he liked the way the Brawl Out I don't think he liked the way the CM Punk thing went down.
Because he knows he probably wants to work with Punk because he knows it's going to draw money.
He never had an issue with Punk. Punk never had an issue with him with the Bucks.
Like, I'm sorry, if you're the Young Bucks or if you're anybody and you don't, after that incident, and you guys don't want to work with each other, the party that doesn't want to work with the like Punk, I'm sure was like, let's turn this to an angle. If the Bucks said no, I would have fired him. I would have said you can leave right now.
Because at the end of the day,
I'm pretty sure the Bucks were the ones that said no.
Because you cost them so much money by doing that.
Still cost them.
And they haven't recovered.
And at the end of the day, is it really a difference if we don't see the Bucks on TV or not?
No, there's no difference. The ratings have shown.
I mean, let's look at it with AEW. You've seen, of course, MJF, Swerve, yes. Adam Page, even him, you could tell the difference. Hell, Orange Cassidy, when Sting was, I don't count Sting, he's a legend. Punk, of course, but Punk's on another level. The same people we just know, oh crap, they're not there. Even the Lucha Bros, when they was there, you felt it. And their tag teams were hard FTR. When you watch Dynamite, anybody does, you still look for certain people. The Bucks could miss the next month and be like, crap, I didn't even, when they were gone. Remember when
they didn't defend their title for months, and
you forgot.
I forgot they were fucking champions.
They have a part-time schedule. They have a Brock Lesnar schedule now. They have select dates that they can only wrestle.
It's like schedule, but nobody gives a shit like they do with Brock Lesnar.
They've never drawn that. They've never drawn that rating to earn that right.
Yeah,
like that's the problem I have.
It's like having a part-time schedule.
Are they one of the best tag teams ever? Yes. It's hard for me to deny that.
Up until like 2018-ish, 19-ish.
I would give him a pass up to 2020, but it falls off.
I'd give him to
2021. Yeah, after All Out, even before then, it's like, okay, it's like you had a wedding and everybody was having a good time, and then right before they cut the wedding cake, some big fat dude just came and took a shit on the whole cake.
Pretty much.
After that, everyone just kind of remembers, man, that wedding is where that dude shit on the cake. It wasn't that good.
That's AEW right now.
Yeah,
that's where they shit on the cake.
Somebody took a shit on the cake, and that's all anybody remembers from the wedding.
It is. I mean, that's like at my wedding. I mean, one of my groomsmen
Did you say your wedding?
passed out at my wedding. My groomsman passed out and knocked his head down. He did the super kicks out. You the stoof sitting on the cake. My wedding. Oh, that's right. Your brother passed out at your wedding. So sad he went to it. Yes.
That's what it
And
is.
people have it on video, which no one will tell us who did, but I know someone did.
I hate to cut this party short, gentlemen, but it's
like
1:30 here on the East Coast.
It is.
And I think it's time that we should call it a night.
Before
Evan,
even more editing.
Yes. Well, not. I really don't have to do much editing, though. This is a really like a dry run, pretty much like one shot. I just have to cut out the beginning, and that's pretty much it. Evan, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Under the Mats Radio on YouTube, on Twitter at TECH_UTMR. You can also find us on Instagram at the Under the Mats Radio page. Follow us. My show has been around, as I said, going on 13 years, covering pro wrestling, pop culture, TVs, movies, comic books, MMA, boxing. Bring you the most exclusive interviews, not just pro wrestlers, referees, people that worked in production on TV, people that do background work, background actors, posters for movies, TV workers, comic books. As you see, some of how this show went tonight is how my show is. We'll have a topic, we'll talk about it. My foundation is pro wrestling, but half of the show probably won't be about pro wrestling. Talking about movies. Is Endgame better than Infinity War? Naked Gun 2 better than Naked Gun 1? Or,
The Shield.
Yeah, The Shield is better than The Wire. Okay, what about Sons of Anarchy? Just random. We don't talk politics or any newsworthy stuff. We just have fun, talk about anything people want to. Seat versus sandwich. Do you like grape jelly or strawberry jelly? Just random fun stuff. We talk about baseball too. You're one of the few baseball fans. Red Sox are cool. Kudos. What have you. By the way, they're one of the few teams that have a manual scoreboard. So they actually manually changes everything.
That's true. Still to this day.
DK hasn't watched football since Buccaneers wore the orange circle uniforms.
Yeah.
It's probably like, is Deion Sanders still playing? No.
Wait, Bo Jackson? What's his yardage?
Dan Marino?
Steve Largent? No.
Wait, Warren Sapp still? No.
I remember John Elway.
He's retired, right?
Yeah, I know.
No, wait, is he like a president or something? Like a football operation?
I didn't follow him after he left football.
No way, Jim Kelly's retired too, DK. And you do know that NFL regular season games on 14 games.
NFL respects people's time a lot better than baseball, so I'll give them that.
Oh no, they don't, because they don't respect their players. You're about to go to 18 games. You're about to go to 18 games next year.
Yeah,
they don't. I thought they
just want to stack up more regular season games, though.
I always heard that the players don't respect their wives too much.
It's all about money.
It's all about the money. I know that. Was it 18 Raw, 19? It's all about the money.
We're just going to have one game a week, 52 games a year. Including playoffs.
But to end it,
we'll just restart it every year. Like week one.
To end it with this with sports, even though baseball has the longest games in their season, it's still time-wise is not the longest season in sports. That is the NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA.
There's a sport I don't care for.
Go by the months.
I love it.
October? Is it October?
Yeah.
October through June, yeah.
It used to be fucking May, but at some point they found a way to tack on an extra few weeks.
Yeah, and the playoff games be like, you play 2 straight games, it'd be like 3 games in between. Why do you need 3 games 3 days in between?
Because they want their players to
money.
Game 1, 2, Monday, Tuesday. Game 3,
you probably edit
Friday.
that out. That might be like I might get in trouble for that.
Hey,
Friday.
I mean, I like the NBA right now, considering the fact the Celtics are world champions. So.
Oh, congratulations, Mitch. By the way, love the Celtics over the Knicks. Love Larry Bird.
Thank you.
All-time favorite basketball player is Larry
Guy
Bird.
over here.
I play a lot of NBA 2K, and I always team him up with Jordan. So.
But that's death.
I got to get some sleep.
So do I. But on behalf of myself and David, Evan, thank you for coming on the program this week.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and can't wait.
We'll do another
anytime you guys-
roundtable down the line.
Without
yes,
question.
anytime you
Bring it
guys
on.
need me, let me know.
Cool.
All right.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
And we're out.